Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm about to dive into what we believe is one of the most important investigations I've ever published this year. Over the past several weeks, I've reached out to AURUM, I don't know if I'm saying that right, I don't care, Foundation, and it's rebranded. Now, this one I definitely can't say. NEYRO. Isn't it unusual? A company has rebranded itself already. Why would they do that? Anyway, I reviewed presentations, examined regulatory warnings, followed the marketing, studied the compensation model, and most importantly, worked alongside Crypto G, one of the unsung heroes in the Avengers network, who's carried out an independent blockchain forensic analyst. This isn't a broadcast built on rumors or opinions. It's built on evidence. Together, we'll follow the blockchain, examine the smart contracts, and ask the simple question that every investor deserves the answer to. If the AI trading bot is generating all these profits, where is the independently verifiable evidence that it's actually trading? Throughout this live, we'll walk through the investigation step by step, examining the blockchain evidence, review the people promoting the opportunity, and compare the marketing with what we actually are able to verify. If you're already involved in AURUM Foundation, or that new name that I can't read already, NEYRO, is it NEYRO?
NEYRO.
Oh, look at that, NEYRO, just say it as you see it. Or you're considering investing, I encourage you to keep an open mind. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that lightly, because as I have mentioned many times in my lives, I was brought up in a religious cult, and I would literally believe the elders, the ministerial servants, or people I spoke to within the community I was part of. I would listen to every part of what they said, because even if people told me otherwise, I had a different opinion. So people would say, are you open-minded? Of course, as long as it was in the same mind that I taught. So really, you need to listen up. If you've got money in here and you think you're clever and you know something I don't know, you are wrong. You are being scammed. And I will bet all your money if you want. Well, I won't, but I haven't got the money to do so, so it's a silly claim, Danny. But anyway, what I'm saying is you are getting scammed. Any money that you have made, if you're a net winner and you've got your seed money out, then you're playing with stolen money from other investors, because it's a Ponzi scheme. My goal isn't to tell you what I think. Well, maybe it is. My goal is to present the facts, explore the evidence, and let you make your own informed decision. So let's begin. Hopefully this window will go to the correct one, and it did. So this is my thumbnail here. AURUM Foundation is all over the internet. This is their website. At first glance, it probably looks flashy. They're claiming they're actually a bank. Banks, to claim that they're an internet bank and they're changing the world. Have we all heard it before? You can go through here, aurum.foundation. You will find their website, and it's cram-packed with stuff. Official brokers, partners. Now, you will not find Binance talking about AURUM at all. Partners, well, let's look up the word partners and see what they actually mean by the word partners. It's not what you would think in your brain. A partner, associate, a utility that they may use. You might have a Binance account. You can sign into Binance and give them money. Doesn't mean there's a partnership there. And this is really absolutely bullshit sort of stuff. So you can go through here and analyze the whole website. You can go and find this guy out if you want, research him and all the people that are popping up on the website here. Now, a colleague of mine, which we'll talk about, is behind MLM. He's done a lot of posts on this as well. This will blow you away. First of all, we do have a song. We've made, and we've used the banjo, because that's what Crypto G loves playing.
They promise futures written in code, an AI engine on the blockchain road. Passive profits.
So you go listen to that song, Your Own Demise. If you are looking for my music, there's a link on the top of my website, theheck.com. You can also see our merch and listen to podcasts if you want. But music, you'll find that we now have 25 songs in our accolade of music. Right, so this is the song. I may, because I'm in a bit of a rush, it's quite a big blog, I may get some of it read digitally. But in the meantime, trust me, the AI is doing the trading. That was a message investors keep hearing. What happened when someone stopped listening to the marketing and started reading the blockchain, and tells a very different story. Now, do you know what the blockchain is? So the blockchain is absolutely fantastic. Basically, everything that goes on the blockchain is transparent. But if your company has its own blockchain hidden behind whatever your own app or your own utilities, then it's not a proper blockchain like you'd find transactions on Binance or crypto.com and the like. So what's happening on their blockchain isn't going to help you in your financial future. That's my 2 cents worth. And I'm not a crypto expert. I always say that, even though I was nicknamed the Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger by the New York Times, who did a 2-page spread about me and my quest to name and shame anyone running or promoting a Ponzi scheme or a scam. When I published my first investigation about AURUM Foundation, AURUM Neobank, Auto's Neobank, and its so-called AI trading system back in May 2026, I believe I had documented enough evidence to justify serious concern. The company was already attracting regulatory attention around the world. Promoters were making extraordinary claims and automated wealth generation, and investors were being encouraged to believe they had discovered the future of finance. Before I published my first investigation, I even received an unsolicited $1,000 US cryptocurrency. Well, it wasn't cryptocurrency payment. It was payment through, it pisses me off. It pisses me off so much, I'm going to fix it right now, because if you do want to support me, there's a yellow button on the bottom here, and it's Ko-Fi. So I received a Ko-Fi. I even gave it a screenshot, and it's still called it Ko-Fi. How do we actually spell Ko-Fi? Anyone know? So I'm going to go back to Ko-Fi. And is Ko-Fi, how do they spell Ko-Fi, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, it doesn't work. Home. Do we have to log out? Maybe if I log out, that might help. I just want to see what they actually call it. More, log out. Right, so how do they spell Ko-Fi? Normally at the bottom I get the official names. Ko-Fi. Right, so there we go. We're going to have a bit of a break. I'm going to get that right. I've already published this blog on 6 different platforms, but I get sick of it when it doesn't get the information right. So $1,000 US Ko-Fi payment. And that's what I'll do. I'll link that through to my Ko-Fi. And then people can see how they can donate towards me. Does that work? Oh, that works. That's brilliant. So at the moment, I'm working towards my goal of being able to go to Orlando. And as I said, I've booked my flights and then realized I've now changed the court date. So that's great. Ko-Fi. There we go. Open it up. Right. We're going back. Ko-Fi payment. $1,000. Boom. And do that there. $1,000 Ko-Fi payment. There we go. So that was a payment. It was actually not a payment, donation. It was a donation. From someone asking me, and that might work better. Alrighty, so we got that right. I don't want to mislead you guys, and obviously my other platforms are out of date.
New donation from Velvet.
Velvet, stop it. Thank you very much. There you go. Another individual that has not lost money to a scam, who's one of the Avengers who support the work that we do. So that's just in-house donation. Stop it. Very nice and really much appreciated. But here we go. So we're back to where we started before I was really interrupted by myself. Or let's say AI, because it didn't want you to mislead the stuff. So the company had already been attracting regulatory attention around the world. I've even received unsolicited $1,000 Ko-Fi donation from someone asking me to stop covering AURUM. I immediately refunded my investigation because my investigations are not for sale. So there's the actual receipt, just in case you want a proof of that. And I don't like giving money back, but I didn't want to take dirty money from whoever that individual was there. And you can see down the bottom here, your payment has been refunded. I don't take bribes. So why were they doing that? Well, they don't want bad press. And you'll find out exactly why this company doesn't want the Avengers to investigate them. I assume that would be the end of the story. Instead, it marked the beginning of a much larger investigation. Since then, financial regulators in multiple jurisdictions have issued further warning. What do they call those people?
Prosecutors.
Prosecutors, that's very loud. Prosecutors in Poland have been asked to investigate alleged banking offences connected to the company's NEYRO bank branding. So they're calling themselves a bank. Now, you just can't start up and call yourself a bank. Otherwise, I'll start up a company called Danny's Bank. How about that? AURUM. Am I saying that nearly right? AURUM. Thank you, Velvet. Yes. Thank you so much, Velvet. Absolutely very kind. I don't know why it didn't pop up in the chat room, that, funny enough. I wonder why it's been naughty today, because normally that turns up in the chat room. Don't know what's going on there. All right, so they're branding themselves as a bank. AURUM has rebranded much of its ecosystem under NEYRO name. Now, I am actually kind of curious here whether we actually, if we change that NEYRO, take out the N, and wonder if they've got the same domain names. No, they don't. And I'm wondering if you go .com, have they actually got that domain name? Because I haven't looked up that, just while I'm thinking. No, it's a doctor's. Dr. Neuron. Is it Neuron? Isn't that crazy? But anyway, as you can see, has rebranded much of its ecosystem under NEYRO name, and new promoters continue engaging people to believe they are participating in a regulatory AI-powered financial platform. Now, it's just, don't get bamboozled when you're looking at doing investments by the terminology used, because they love using, it used to be the metaverse, and it used to be, a decentralized, what do they call them? NFTs, and then we had autonomous networks, what do they call it? Everyone used to be DAOs. Everyone used to be telling you about DAO, and that's where basically the thing runs itself. Don't need any human contracts, and they use smart contracts to do activities so no human intervention can defraud the people. But now technology is taking it to a new level where we can actually see the white contracts. We can review the white contracts and see what actually is happening, and you'll be amazed what this company is actually doing. When I was contacted by someone known as, Crypto G, and I'm sorry this blog has been written by AI. I know Crypto G, he's like a brother from another lover. But anyway, I'm telling my story. A member of the Avenger Anti-Fraud Alliance, otherwise known as AAA. Now, we want you guys to come to us and ask us to do these reviews, which we're about to see. Rather than analyzing marketing videos, which are all bullshit, or compensation plans, how much money you're going to get from the thievery that's going on, Crypto G did something far more difficult. He followed the blockchain and examined the smart contracts, traced the wallet activities across multiple networks. Now, that's pretty clever. Now, if you go to my bookmarks, and you'll see that if we go down to blockchain, the Avengers here, all the columns down here are other investigations that we have done in the past. And my Avengers are always trying to educate me on how to use the technology. And I've just actually got out of the place I meant to be, so I'm going to go back. So there's multiple blockchains, there's multiple networks, and you can actually trace where things go. Now, let's just say Danny wants to buy something for $1,000 on the internet. A lot of these companies chop that up into $10 lots, and then they transfer it all over the internet, and then they regroup it back together, and it makes it very hard for people to trace. So clever people like Crypto G and Susie and our friend of the channel, which is Zach XPT, you can find him on X, who's actually just recently used our information to track and stop $41.5 million that was being money laundered through a scam called BG Wealth Sharing. He monitored 91 million, managed to stop 41.5 million just because of the crypto wallet addresses that our investigation team actually found, which is really, really cool. And that money was frozen on OKX and also Coinbase. So we're there monitoring the money. We're following the money just like they say. We even reverse engineer where the money goes. Instead of following the money, sometimes we track the money backwards. And then we find who's behind it and the like. It's really, really interesting. Okay, when I was conducted by someone known as Crypto G, a member of the Avenger Anti-Fraud Alliance, rather than analysing marketing videos and conversation plans, Crypto G did something far more difficult. He followed the blockchain, examined the smart contracts, traced wallet activity across multiple networks, analysed the transactions, flows worth tens of millions of dollars, and compared the code actually compared what the code actually does with AURUM. Tells investors it does. So what they're claiming and what they tell their investors it does, his findings became the catalyst for opening this investigation. So as soon as I saw this report, I thought we better update all these investors who are sitting here thinking they've got the best thing since sliced bread. If Crypto G's analysis is correct, this is no longer simply a story about questionable marketing claims or another referral-driven crypto opportunity. It raises much more fundamental questions, fraudulent the same. What if the AI trading bot at the center of AURUM's entire business isn't trading at all? So just imagine that their biggest claim to fame is all the money that you guys are generating is actually coming from a mysterious AI bot that doesn't actually exist. So after reading this, there's 100% guarantee from the Avenger Anti-Fraud Alliance, AAA, that we're telling you that there's no such thing as a trading bot. So the next question in your little wee brain, if you're a believer of the foundation, is where's the money coming from? Well, we're going to tell you. Why I reopened the investigation. After publishing my original investigation, which hopefully will be, I've done it again. I have done it again. I clicked on the button, didn't open the window, but this is the original investigation. You can see here that I had a big book wall and went through everything that we saw. Done a video. We've found idiots promoting it. These are actually very funny videos if you want to have a wee laugh. And that was our first investigation. I expected AURUM's foundation to respond with evidence. So in that investigation, we asked them for a right of reply. And in fact, I think the story went, I asked them for a right of reply, and then I received a reply and a $1,000 bribe not to publish anything. I think that's how it went. I can't quite remember, to be honest. I have got the documented there, but I don't need to at the moment. If the company generally operated the sophisticated AI trading system it claimed, this was the opportunity to produce the audited trading records, licensing documentation, proof of reserves, or independently verifiable evidence showing how investors' funds generated the advertised returns. Instead, the story moved from a very different direction. Regulators across multiple restrictions continued issuing warnings. New promotional campaigns emerged under NEYRO brand, and the marketing became even more ambitious. Rather than answering the growing list of questions, the company appeared to be expanding its ecosystem while asking investors to place even more trust in claims that remained largely unverified. At the same time, I continued hearing from people from both sides of the story. Some contacted me after losing confidence in the project. Others shared promotional material, internal presentations, and recruitment videos. One person even granted me access to their own AURUM dashboard so I could independently examine how the platform presented balances, returned the user activity. That access allowed me to document the system from an investor's perspective without relying solely on marketing screenshots circulated online. Every new piece of information was carefully compared against previous claims, regulatory findings, and publicly available blockchain data, which is absolutely amazing. The turning point came when Crypto G, and if you don't know Crypto G, I don't know where you've been. Crypto G is a YouTuber, and I'm going to put a YouTube account in the chat room right now. Please go and subscribe to his channel. It helps get his videos out there. You can even see he's got a lovely picture of the Avengers up here, and there's Pixel down the bottom there, which is absolutely fantastic. The videos that he comes out with are incredible, and I'm sure, even though he hasn't told me, he will be producing a video about his report with AURUM Foundation, and I will be including that in this blog when he does so. He hasn't said he has, but I just about guarantee some of the investigations he's done are techie, techie and cheeky and funny. And there he is actually playing. He plays the ukulele normally. That really him. Look at the. Oh, he's wearing a wig. He must be. But anyway, carry on. Oh, there he is. He is wearing a wig there. Look, he's wearing a hat there. And he's playing the banjo. He's absolutely a legend in our eyes. Very clever man. So glad to have him in the Avenger Network. So that's fantastic. So anyway, Crypto G, working with the Avenger Anti-Fraud Alliance, AAA, approached me with an extensive blockchain forensic investigation. Now, there's two parts of this investigation. I'm going to give you, I think I have the link. I do. So I have the original link, but thank goodness I downloaded this and I have actually put it into a PDF and made it so it's stuck in history. This was the investigation that he gave us on the blockchain and the activity that isn't happening, that they claim is happening. We've tracked $31 million of investors' funds is sitting very vulnerable at the moment and not doing what they claim, not working on trading, put it that way. But he's gone through he has gone through the smart contracts. He's read those like he's a genius, owns it like he's a boss, and shown you what these white papers, smart contracts are actually doing with people's money. And you will not believe it. Look, deposits in laundering out. So $31 million in, and it's gone straight out the back door. So far, $30 million has gone out the back door, and it's been broken into little segments. No trading is happening. No trading is happening. Do you hear me? Can you prove to me that we're wrong? I can guarantee you cannot prove the blockchain is lying. So this report, absolutely batshit crazy cool. I'm going to put that in the chat room as well. That is not permanent. That is going to disappear. But what is permanent, if you come back here and you click on the forensic investigation, you'll see a PDF version of the same document ready for you to download. And we would welcome you sending that to probably the same person that tried to bribe me with $1,000 not to publish negative stuff about them, where they're lying to people. Anyway, unlike most critics, he wasn't analysing the presentations or debating compensation plans. He was reading the smart contracts themselves, tracing wallet movement across multiple blockchains, and that's what they're doing. Why would they be doing that? Examining contracts, examining, what's it called that? Transaction histories, and documenting how funds followed through the system. His report wasn't based on opinion or speculation. It was built on verifiable on-chain evidence that anybody with a necessary technical knowledge can independently review. So go and do the same research yourself and look at the crypto wallet address, which I presume is in that there. I haven't looked at that, and do your own research and see if you can, validate our validation of it being a no trading happening here, Tim. If those findings withstand scrutiny, they challenge one of AURUM's Foundation's most fundamental claims, that investors' funds are being managed by sophisticated AI-powered trading bots operating in crypto markets. It's bullshit. That discovery transformed this from an update to a completely new investigation. The regulatory warnings remain important. The promoters remain accountable for the claims they continue making, and the growing list of public complaints deserve careful examination. At this time, the investigation begins somewhere much deeper. Before looking at the people promoting AURUM Foundation, we first need to examine the technology they insist is generating the returns. Because if the blockchain tells a different story from the marketing, everything built on top of those claims deserves much closer scrutiny. And that's what we're doing. So meet Crypto G. Who is this guy? One of the realities, what's that word, Dan? Realities of this investigative journalism is important leads often arrive quietly. Now, I'm not sure if we mentioned this, but if the person that gave us the initial documentation that we received was anonymous, which they wanted to be anonymous. I received an email, somebody saying they've done an investigation. They have come up with some extraordinary evidence. So we wrote back to them, and then I said, if you've got that evidence, we will use it. Please provide it in everything that you've got. And then I sent that through to Crypto G. Crypto G then used that information to do his investigation, and this is where we are today. So I'm not sure if we mentioned that here, but we receive a lot of anonymous information from people who give us the fingerprints or the data that we need to do these investigations. So if you've got data like this on any investigation, please do give it to us. We will use it wisely, and this is the result of what you've given us. So I want to give credit to the person that emailed us and did a lot of research into this initially, even though they want to remain anonymous. They don't come through the press releases. We often talk about being at the bottom of the cliff, helping victims and putting band-aids when they've been thrown off the top of the financial cliff. We're actually at the top of the cliff, and that's what we do. It's cool. People have turned up in Auckland. Anyway, so we're not going to wait until the press do a release. We're not going to wait until the judge finds a victim that's lost $150 trillion, and then we're not going to read the court filings. We are in the trenches, taking these companies on head to head, asking them to validate the claims that they are making to the public who keep investing in these opportunities. So they come from people who have spent weeks or months following the trial because something simply didn't add up. That's exactly what happened when I was introduced to Crypto G, an independent blockchain investigator, a member of the Avenger Anti-Fraud Alliance, AAA, which is part of our association. Unlike many people who contact me with suspicious or personal experiences, it arrived with something far more substantial, a comprehensible forensic report built around verifiable blockchain data. So you can't lie. The blockchain's amazing. Smart contract analysis. Sorry, it's a tongue twister for Danny. Transition histories, wallet tracing, and technical evidence that could be independently examined. So basically all the good stuff we love about the blockchain, Crypto G has used that information to actually show you that this company is a fraud. As I worked through the report, it quickly became obvious that this wasn't another collection of screenshots or anonymous allegations. Crypto G had traced activity across the BNB chain and Tron, identified multiple smart contracts associated to AURUM's ecosystem. So AURUM has created all these smart contracts to do certain things when people get to a certain level or some action happens. Remember those programs that we used to use called if then what? Well, that's what a smart contract is. You know, it's automation when certain conditions are met. And so when you examine those smart contracts, you can see what they're actually doing. Now, a lot of people use smart contracts to give people peace of mind on security. You can't edit these smart contracts. I believe you can't edit any of them. Once they're there, you need to create another smart contract to, it's a chain of smart contracts that are on the blockchain. So it's sort of like, let me just say another way. It's kind of like a city, and you've got all your blocks and all the roads and all the traffic lights. It's all connected to the city now. So to go in there and change the design of your block often can't happen because it's part of the city. So smart contracts, are told to do certain things at certain times. So you've got a green light for go, orange light for you should be about to stop if you can, and a red light means stop. Certain rules happen. They might be synchronized with other green lights around the city so the traffic flow works normally. All this sort of stuff, that's what smart contracts do. They control things without human intervention, which gives people the mind power that something clever is happening, but it doesn't have human intervention. So mapped relationships between wallet addresses, documented fund movements worth tens of millions of dollars, and preserved the supporting transaction hashes and blockchain records. Rather than asking me to simply trust their conclusion, he provided the evidence so that I could follow the methodology and understand how each conclusion had been reached. Where possible, every claim would be checked against publicly available blockchain explorers. So everything that we've done as far as we can. We've got it here on the platter. You've gone to a smorgasbord. We are the chefs in the kitchen. We are serving you what we have found. If you want to carry on eating this garbage, then do so. But don't say that the chefs who made the food can't prove the ingredients of what you're about to eat. What impressed me the most wasn't that Crypto G was trying to prove AURUM was a scam. He approached the investigation like a forensic accountant approaches company books. He started with the claims AURUM makes publicly. They asked a simple question. Does the blockchain support the claims? If AURUM AI trading bot generally analyzes the market, executes trades, and generates profits for investors, there should be evidence of that activity somewhere within the underlying infrastructure that they have. Instead of beginning with assumptions, he began with the code, the contracts, and the movement of the funds. Now, anyone knows that trading requires funds, okay? So that's an easy place to start, you'd think, right? Before publishing anything based on his work, I spent considerable time reviewing the report, asking questions, requesting clarification, and challenging sections that need further explanation. Now, between Crypto G and my anonymous informant or provider of state, it's sort of AI's, you sort of got Crypto G and my anonymous informant mixed up a little bit. But after giving it all to Crypto G, then he's gone through all the data that we received, and then he's done his own independent report or investigation, looking at the red flags that an individual raised to us. Not that we haven't done this before, but anyway, I just want to be perfectly clear that a little of this isn't quite right because it's talking about Crypto G like he's the third person, but actually it's probably the anonymous person's stuff. Makes sense? Doesn't matter. The end result's going to be the same. Two people out there have said this is a scam. So they could independently review the material. All right. So finding members of the Anti-Fraud Alliance, AAA, so they could independently review the material. Well, that's correct. This investigation is therefore not based on a single assumption, tip of one person or opinion. Yes, there's a team of us. It is based on a growing body of technical evidence that deserves serious public scrutiny. And that's where you guys come in. In the sections that follow, I will walk through the evidence step by step, allow readers to see exactly why Crypto G's analysts become the catalyst for opening this investigation. All right, so following the blockchain. I mean, we say I don't get it all the time, but they give me addresses and I look at it and I go, who's that? What's that money? Where's that money going? What's Ethereum? What's, I get confused. But this is written for layman's to, oh, look at this. Crypto G's in the chat room. Well done. Nice to see you here, mate. Hope I'm doing you justice. Follow the blockchain. That's what he did. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. I probably say that 10 times a week. And I didn't even know that Carl Sagan actually was the person who come across that quote. That quote came to mind repeatedly as I worked through Crypto G's report. AURUM Foundation isn't claiming to run an ordinary investment platform. It tells the public that its sophisticated artificial intelligence is analyzing global cryptocurrency markets, executing trades around the clock, managing liquidity, reducing the risk, and generating consistent returns. Bullshit. Oops, sorry, got to Ritz. Those are extraordinary claims. If they are true, they should be equally extraordinary evidence to support them. Now, wouldn't you have some form of transparency out there if you're making extraordinary claims? That's what we're getting to. Crypto G didn't begin by asking whether AURUM looked legitimate. He started with a simpler question. What does the blockchain show? So let's look at the blockchain. Unlike a website, a webinar, or a glossy presentation, public blockchain records transactions can be independently verified. Now, we all know what marketing brochures look like. When you go on a holiday, you look at the brochure, it looks fantastic. You can't validate it until you turn up at the complex and view it for yourself. So we're comparing marketing versus actual proof on the blockchain. Wallet addresses can be traced. Did you know that? Yeah. Smart contracts can be examined. Yeah, did you know that? So it's a smart contract. Oh, all right. Smart. So smart that humans can't look at it? Incorrect. You can. Crypto G can anyway. Transaction histories can be followed. So we can go back as far as we like to the very first day that anyone put any money into AURUM. We can actually find it. Markets claims on the other hand, can be written overnight. So marketing is one thing and following the blockchain is another. Rather than relying on screenshots or dashboard balances, Crypto G's assembled a forensic investigation using publicly verified blockchain data. You can't get any better than this investigation, ladies and gentlemen. His work included smart contract analysis across both the BNB smart chain and Tron, wallet tracing to identify how investors' funds move through the system, transaction analysts covering tens of millions of dollars in cryptocurrency movements, cross-chain mapping, linking contracts, administrators, and funding sources, independently validating public blockchain explorers rather than private company data. So blockchain explorers are far better than just using private company data, which is basically bullshit. Just going to have another drink here. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the next 2 paragraphs so I can have a good drink and a bit of a rest.
That distinction is critical. This investigation does not depend on trusting AURUM Foundation, trusting Crypto G, or trusting me. The evidence can be checked by anyone with the technical knowledge to inspect the same contracts and transactions. Blockchain technology is often promoted as transparent. In this case, that transparency became one of the most valuable investigative tools available.
Yeah, so what we get, ladies and gentlemen, is we get people that are promoting the platform coming in here sometimes, posting comments underneath our videos, which we do love, and they basically tell us we don't know what we're talking about. Well, you guys are the investors, you're the guys with the money, so in fact, the one with the gold makes the rules. So you should be doing this investigation yourself, or you can take our investigations to AURUM and ask them to validate it without using marketing words and show us on the blockchain what they're actually doing, because they will come up with nothing. They will come up with excuses. That's not nothing. Anyway, as I worked through the report, one finding stood out before everything else. If Crypto G's analysis is correct, the blockchain does not show an AI trading engine buying and selling assets on behalf of investors. Instead, it appears to be showing something different. I'm sure you're going to be interested to see what it's actually doing. Before looking at the millions of dollars moving between wallets, we first need to understand the smart contracts sitting in the heart of the entire AURUM and NEYRO ecosystem. These contracts tell the story that is difficult to reconcile with marketing promises investors have been hearing. The code doesn't trade. Smart contracts are the code that theoretically do the trading. The code doesn't trade. One of the most common arguments made by AURUM Foundation supporters is that the technology is simply too complex for outsiders to understand. Isn't that convenient? Well, not for Crypto G and the Avengers. Investors are encouraged to trust the developers, and I bet you've never seen a developer yet. Trust the leadership and trust the AI. Now, this isn't a cult. This isn't a religion. This isn't a belief. This is a business transaction. You deposit money, they claim, you get. As simple as that. You don't need to trust. You don't need to have a belief. This isn't got Bibles and Jesus and God behind it. This is a business transaction. But computers don't operate on trust. They operate on code. If an artificial intelligence is genuinely executing trades, managing risk, and generating profits, there should be evidence of that functionality within the smart contracts that underpin the platform. Show us the proof. There is none, because it doesn't exist. Crypto G began to examine the contracts that AURUM publicly associates with an AI trading bot. Rather than looking for marketing language, he looked for the functions that actually control how funds move through the blockchain. His objective was straightforward: identify where investors' deposits go, determine who controls those funds, and establish whether the contract contains the mechanism capable of carrying out automated trading. Okay, are these smart contracts that smart? Show me the trading functions. That's what he's looking for in the white contract. I can see him sitting there with his banjo, reading the smart contract, looking for the functions. I mean, imagine this, all right? You've got yourself a flash car, and it's the fastest car on the planet. It goes 400 miles an hour. And then somebody says, where's the engine? And you are looking around the car and go, I don't know, isn't it in the front? And you lift up the bonnet and there's no engine. So you lift up the fronnet, whatever the other back thing is, and there's no engine. If there's no mechanics, I'm not going to buy a car that goes 400 miles an hour without any proof of any engine. And that's what we've found. The trading functions in the smart contracts. Do they exist? That was effectively the question driving the entire analysis. According to CryptoG's report, the answer was unexpected. Well, not for me, but maybe for you. Instead of finding code that interacted with cryptocurrency exchanges to execute trades on behalf of investors, he concluded that the contracts primarily performs a much simpler task. Love this one. Accepting deposits, directing funds into liquidity pools. That sounds familiar. He found no independently identifiable trading logic that would support AURUM's public claims of AI-driven market activity. Liar, liar, pants on fire. While the contract contains administrative functions allowing authorized parties to manage assets, the report argues, is that right?
Argues.
Oh, it does argue. The report argues it does not contain the sophisticated trading mechanisms investors are repeatedly told are generating daily returns. So if you don't know how to read a smart contract and you're invested in a company that's using smart contracts, you need to pull your money out. And you probably won't be your money. It'll probably be some new investors' money, just saying. If that assessment is correct, the implications are significant. AURUM's public narrative. AI analyzes the markets, execute profitable trades, and shares the profits with participants. That claim is bullshit. CryptoG's blockchain analysis. The examined smart contract contains no observable trading observable trading logic consistent with those public claims. So that too conflict. Hey, no barking. Right, and that doesn't. Just for a minute there, I've got to go and shut a door before my dog goes out barking. So we'll put the music on this time. And that's. Do you like the music, Crypto G? This song, it's just for you.
They promise future written in code. An AI engine on the block.
Do you like that? It's pretty good, isn't it? Anyway, let's carry on. I haven't got too much time. I've got about 15 minutes at least, so that's good. That doesn't by itself prove fraud. Smart contracts can interact with off-chain systems. So that's what they'll probably come back and say. And there's many, there may be components that are not publicly visible, which is always incredibly convenient. However, it does not create a question. However, it does create a question that deserves a clear answer from AURUM Foundation. If the AI trading takes place elsewhere, where is it? Right. That's not a theory. What's that word? It's got an R in front of it.
Rhetorical.
Rhetorical question is one that should be answered with confidence rather than marketing. So forget about the marketing, guys. It's time for utility evidence. Investors deserve to know which exchanges are being used, how trades are executed, where the automated trading platforms can be independently verified, and how the returns displayed in the dashboard are actually generated. We've seen it so many times, even with Goliath Ventures. They gave people a portal where they could log in and see their money hyper compounding. And now that company is well over $400 million in the red. And all the investors have lost all their money. But they did stroke their egos every time they logged into the app and they could see how much money they thought they could see on the screen. Don't get bamboozled by a login screen to a platform that can't prove that those figures are real and genuine. Now, the answer to that question often is, but I have withdrawn money to test the platform. Well, that's how Ponzi schemes work. And if it's statistically speaking, you line up 200 customers, not all those 200 customers will take out all their money. They will listen to a friend who said, I got my money out, don't worry about it. So then no one does it. So even if they gave back 30%, 50%, 100% of the money to 100 investors, the system still will grow. And that's how they lure people and give people trust, because all these systems are built on trust. As I continued reviewing Crypto G's report, the question became even more difficult. The questions became even more difficult. The absence of visible trading logic was only the beginning. The next stage of the investigation followed the money itself, tracing tens of millions of dollars as they moved from investors' deposits through the network of wallets, revealing patterns that demand much closer scrutiny. Follow the money. Finding no obvious trading logic in the smart contracts was a significant discovery, but it didn't answer the most important question: where did the money actually go? A smart contract only is one piece of the puzzle. So remember, we've got 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle here. We often don't have the picture on the cover, and we have to find all the edges, straight edges, all the color bits, put them together, and we build an overall picture pretty quick. The blockchain also records every deposit, another pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that look all the same, every transaction and every withdrawal. Unlike promotional videos or dashboard balances, those transactions cannot simply be edited after the fact. They leave a permanent trail, and that's why we love the blockchain. So app one thing, blockchain another. Crypto G followed the trail. Using publicly available Blockchain Explorer, the transaction data, he mapped the movement of the funds through the AURUM system. Rather than looking at handful of isolated transactions, he analyzed the broader flow of capital, identifying the wallets receiving investors' deposit, the addresses controlling the contracts, and the destinations where the cryptocurrency ultimately was moved. All right, so I want you to have a look at the actual report here. My PDF probably won't give it justice, and I've just lost my mouse. Have I? Really? I have? Now we have to plug in mouse. How inconvenient. What a good time to lose. I don't actually have a mouse. I have a ThinkPad. Oh, anyway, I'll get that back. Oh, there it goes. Now I want you to have a look at this. And if we go down to, that's not what I want to look at, Danny. I want to look at the actual, it is here. So if we go to here, this thing here, look at this. Alrighty. Okay, so that there is pretty funky. So that's actually looking on the blockchain and looking where all the money is actually going, right? So what we're looking for here in that investigation is actually seeing what's happening with the money. So let's just say you go to the bank and the bank says the money's going to be used to paint the town pink. But there's no evidence of the money actually ever leaving the bank to buy the paint to make the town pink. Does that make sense? I think it does. Easy peasy. So those sort of transactions. So his report highlighted several findings that warranted closer examination. Approximately, get this, 31.7 million was reportedly received by one key address over a period of just 17 days. Oh my God. I didn't actually read that before. So that means that this scam has been going for years. And just within 17 days, 31 million. So this is a massive scam. So this could be a $400 million scam. Is that what I'm reading? Those funds were collected through more than 120 incoming transactions. Oh, that's so sad, because that means there's people investing in the last 30 days that will probably guarantee lose their money before reimbursements. So roughly 30.5 million was what's that word?
Subsequently
Transferred out across hundreds of separate wallet addresses. The report identifies common funding sources linking multiple contracts within the AURUM and NEYRO system. Those figures, if independently verified, raise obvious questions. Large volumes of money moving through the blockchain wallets are not in themselves evidence of wrongdoing. Legitimate businesses process substantial transactions every day. The critical question is what economic activity those transactions represent. If investors are being told that their deposits passed a rob, I'm on a bit of a time thing here. Pastor Rob. Pastor Rob? Pastor Rob. He's gone. That's good. It's good to see you come and go. All right, let me get this right. There's my chain of thought there. Should reveal evidence consistent with the explanation. If instead funds are primarily being collected, reimbursed or pooled without observable trading activity, investors deserve to understand exactly how the advertised returns are being generated. So I didn't say that very well. And in fact, I'm going to say it well. I'm just going to get that read, but I'm going to explain it.
If investors are being told their deposits are actively traded by artificial intelligence, the blockchain should reveal evidence consistent with that explanation. If instead funds are primarily being collected, redistributed or pooled without observable trading activity, investors deserve to understand exactly how the advertised returns are being generated.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me explain that in Danny's brains. I run a bank. You've walked in with bagfuls of money and you've put them in the bank, and the bank said, we're going to invest that money and it's going to give you amazing returns on your investment. But what happens is when they go and put the bags in the safe, there's another guy who walks straight out the back door of the bank and he's distributing the money to give investors peace of mind that they are getting returns on their investments. So that's Pastor Bob again. Pastor Bob, are you there this time? I've only got a few. Hello,
Mr. D.
How you doing? Now we're going to stay on topic today because I'm on fire and you're more than welcome to be here, but I'm very limited on my time today. Have you got any updates on this scam?
Which one is this? Which one we're looking at?
If you don't know Bob is called Larry Lane. He's one of our Avengers. And every Christmas we play his playlist of all the people he's rang up trying to warn who think they're not getting scammed. This one's called AURUM Foundation.
The one that they said they're going to sue you. Oh yeah, that was funny.
Oh, they gave me $1,000 and then I refunded it back. So we have had fun with the guys. Remember those two? What do they call those two idiots?
Yes.
That guy, he was young.
Go into the washroom and just watch us. This is going to change your life. Why? Colorado Springs.
Yeah, they're nut jobs, absolute nut jobs. But the funniest thing, I caused so much disruption in that Zoom meeting, it was just priceless, to be honest.
I'm sorry.
Cryptex
I gotta apologize. You took the blame again today?
Cryptex?
Yep, for Cryptex.
Oh, brilliant. You've done really well with that one. I've been extremely busy at the moment, but people don't know who we're talking about. There's this lady who thinks she looks like a pastor. I call them pastor, a parish, and she's like a minister. But you have been, Cryptex is people, I don't know what is it with people, but they just can't not get scammed. So we've got this lady.
I actually spoke to somebody about Cryptex. I was like, so you're basically BG Wealth, but with a different background, a different name.
Yeah.
You're still doing 4 trades a day, and it's like she refuses to show the trade. I'm like, why won't you show the trades? And the guy's like, well, they're a startup. I'm like, okay, man.
Yeah.
Even a startup.
Oh, mate. Like we say to people, we can show you 250 startups that never got. What do you call a startup once it doesn't get started up? What do you call that?
Failed. But like I try to explain to the gentleman, I'm like, a startup shows you, like, hey, this is the risk. If there's any major investors so far, here they are. You know your risk.
Yeah. So with this one that we're looking at the moment, Bob, I did a search on Behind MOMs, who's normally the first person to alert people. Trader's Domain, you should see this one here anyway. I'm getting distracted myself. I can't get distracted when push for time. But when you go back to...
They're totally arresting people on Trader's Domain. So like every other week, like people are settling in. So I'm like, I wonder how long until they catch up to Megan Lynch on that one.
So this one that we're doing right now goes back to September 2024. Now, most investors will say, well, it's been around for a long time. And I'm going, it's been around for 2 years. And that is a miracle in itself. It just means they managed to get traction, and the bigger they are, the harder they will fall. And now since then, that's the 11th post that Oz has actually done on this scam. And it just goes on and on. But time, like 2 years, doesn't mean it's legit. It just means it's taken, a long time to get going.
I always hear that excuse. Well, it's been around. I'm like, yeah, how long was Madoff scamming for?
Yeah.
Over 5 years. So according to all of you, that was legitimate.
And also, these scams are put together by people in human trafficking compounds. They have people producing websites, giving them to normal people in the real world to promote them. And if we're talking about AURUM and we can watch 31 million in 17 days, I mean, they're talking millions of dollars, and that's why they can afford to build these cities where they get people to work under slave labor. So it's just
it's always interesting. They always say that we cause them to disappear or fall over. I'm like, oh, like if it was that easy, I would have made like 40 of them fall.
Well, we all believe it's just disruption is the best key. That's why it's a naming. It's it's absolutely yeah. Anyway, I've got to carry on reading. You're more than welcome to stay there, mate. But this one's a goodie.
Yeah. If you want, they bump the crybacks up, but I don't know how long you're around that on in like 30 minutes.
What is
crybacks?
Oh, can you send it to me and then remind me when you've already done that? I'll tell you what I'll do. I think it's there already.
Yeah. It is.
All right. So we'll keep it open. I had it open the other night at 1 o'clock in the morning. You told me it would be live in a few minutes. And it never happened for 2 days. Is that it? There it is. Okay, I'll keep it open and we'll see what happens. But let me carry on here, and then we'll show people what a real live liar, pants on fire scam operator looks like. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. The next question I was, what's it called? Evidently, is that right? Equally important. Who controlled the wallets? Because that's ownership of these wallets and ownership of $31 million that's just gone through on trust and belief. And how closely they were connected to contracts investors were told were operating autonomous AI trading systems. So here they are telling everyone that everything's safe. For the use of a weird word, it could be a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization that has no human interactivity, and all the money's safe because of that reason. That's what they tell people. Evidence snapshot. After reviewing CryptoG's forensic report, several findings immediately stood out. Individually, they raised important questions. Taken together, they presented a picture that appeared difficult to reconcile with AURUM's Foundation's public marketing. CryptoG's key observation: no identifiable AI trading logic within the smart contracts examined. Investors' deposits were followed into liquidity pools rather than showing evidence of automated marketing trading. This is major, guys. How many of these red flags do you need before you realize you're going to get rug pulled, or whatever you want to call it, if you're involved in crypto, or it's a Ponzi scheme? One marketing wallet receiving approximately 31 million over a 17-day period, more than 120 inbound transactions feeding that address, approximately 30 million redistributed. Redistributed means they're moving the funds they're collecting somewhere safe to hundreds of wallets. Common funding sources linking multiple contracts across AURUM and NEYRO system. Administrative controls that appear inconsistent with the claims of fully autonomous, non-custodial AI trading system. So everything they're telling you, no evidence whatsoever. None of these observations in isolations prove criminal conduct. Blockchain analysis must always be interpreted carefully, and companies should be given the opportunity to examine the technical findings and that appear inconsistent with public statements. However, they do not establish something that cannot be ignored. The blockchain deserves to be part of this conversation. So remember, the blockchain doesn't lie. The blockchain's there forever. And it's basically the roadmap that somebody has taken, like a GPS coordinated, a GPS map that somebody has recorded as they travel around. We can see it all. For years, the discussion around AURUM was largely involved around promotional webinars, recruitment events, referral commissions, and testimonials from enthusiastic members. Those sources tell us that people are encouraged to believe. The blockchain tells us exactly what happened on chain. That distinction is what makes this investigation different. So this isn't my theory. This isn't my emotional feeling. This isn't, I don't like them. They took $1,000 from me. This is the evidence. This is the receipts. From this point forward, the focus shifts away from marketing material into evidence that can be independently examined. The obvious next question isn't whether AURUM's public statements align with the blockchain records. If they do, the company should be able to demonstrate that clearly. If they don't, investors should deserve to know why. So marketing claims versus blockchain evidence. Now, there's a big contradiction here. Now, we've even got a graph, which I don't normally do, but this time I went over the if you watched yesterday's video where I did this investigation and put it together live into a blog, you'll see all the problems I had using these graphs. But the graphs are really, really good for those people who may be dyslexic, who might want to visually see what is happening. Throughout my investigation, I watched presentations, reviewed promotional materials, examined websites, and listened to the people recruiting investors into AURUM Foundation. The message was remarkably consistent. Members were simply told they were buying cryptocurrency. They were buying cryptocurrency, so weren't simply buying cryptocurrency or participating in a referral program. They were told that they were accessing sophisticated AI-powered trading ecosystems capable of generating returns that ordinary investors could never achieve on their own. This is a miracle. Hallelujah. The marketing repeatedly promoted the concepts such as, this is the AURUM's public claims and questions raised by CryptoG's analysis. AI-powered cryptocurrency trading. Where is the observable trading activity? Automated profit generation. Which transactions demonstrate the profits being created? So we want to see the profits that you are claiming. Where did you invest? Show us this timestamps of the profits that you made from doing this this trading. Non-custodial system. Why do administrative controls appear to exist within the contracts? If this is non-custodial, that means there's no human interactions. So why do controls for administrators of those contracts exist in those contracts if that's the case? Transparent blockchain technology. Why does the smart contract examine, complain, identify... sorry, I'm going to have to read that. Danny's not very good at that.
Why doesn't the smart contract examined contain identifiable trading logic?
Good stuff. Daily returns generated by AI. What verifiable evidence links those returns to actual market trades? I mean, this is all. So it's distribution. You've gone to a distribution center. That's what AURUM is. You go into the factory, you put the goods in the factory, it distributes them to everybody. That's all they are doing. There's no trading, there's no clever shit in between it all. None of these questions automatically prove the marketing is false. There may be explanations that have not yet been made public, which we don't think so, but there may be. There may be off-chain infrastructure that has not been disclosed or independently audited. If so, AURUM Foundation has every opportunity to explain how the technology works and provide evidence that supports the public claim. So we gave them a right to reply in our first email and we got nothing back. In fact, I believe that their email from their website actually bounced back. Or I can't even remember if we actually managed to find an email address, but let's not get distracted. However, this is precisely where transparency becomes so important. Companies ask people to entrust them with their money, should expect their claims to be examined. If the organization attributes investors' returns to artificial intelligence, making profitable trades around the clock, it is reasonable to expect those claims to be supported by auditable evidence. Audible, is that right?
Auditable.
Auditable evidence, not simply repeated webinar promotional videos and recruitment presentations. So they keep showing people how much money they're going to make. They should be focusing on the technology they're claiming they're doing. As I continued reviewing CryptoG's report, another pattern began to emerge. The blockchain didn't just reveal where funds were moving, it also began to expose how different parts of AURUM's ecosystem appeared to be connected, raising further questions about the relationship between the wallets, the smart contracts, and the people promoting the opportunity. The sales machine never stopped. One of the most striking discoveries during this investigation wasn't found on the blockchain. It was found on social media. While CryptoG was tracing wallet addresses and analyzing smart contracts, an entirely different operation continued in plain sight. Recruiters are publishing videos celebrating daily earnings, hosting online presentations, encouraging new sign-ups, and reassuring existing members that AURUM Foundation was stronger than ever, even as regulators in multiple countries began issuing warnings. Promotional machines barely missed a beat. The message really changed. The AI is working. How would they know that? We're building the future of banking, and it's not even a bank. This is just the beginning. You're just beginning. Behind those simple slogans sat an increasingly sophisticated recruitment campaign spread across YouTube, LinkedIn, Telegram, Facebook, Zoom meetings, and private messaging groups. Not Bond Chat. We didn't see any evidence of that. But anyway, thought I'd chuck that in there for people who've been following us with BG Wealth Sharing. Rather than focusing on technical explanations of how AI supposedly traded, the emphasis shifted towards lifestyle, community, fear of missing out, FOMO they call it. Prospective investors were encouraged to look on their dashboard balances, success stories, and referral opportunities instead of asking difficult questions about how the returns were actually being generated. That strategy is not unique to AURUM. I've seen similar patterns across hundreds of investment schemes over the years, the last 5 years. When the product becomes difficult to explain, the attention often shifts towards the people promoting it, rather than underlining business itself. The conversation changes from how does it work to look how successful the members are. As this investigation progressed, I began compiling a list of individuals who continued promoting AURUM Foundation and later the NEYRO rebrand. Some presented themselves as educators. They're called predators. Others describe themselves as business mentors. Oh my God, and they've all had NLP training, so they know how to talk to you so that your mind becomes weak and softened, and then you are vulnerable and they go after you and they take your money. Financial coaches, for goodness sake, or community leaders. Many insisted they were simply sharing an opportunity and believed in it. They're just sharing their journey. Now, I'm just going to go back to behind MLM. And I'm going to look at this Trader's Domain. A Trader's Domain was a big investment that CoffeeZilla has done a lot of work on. Now, if you go through here, look at all these promoters. Stormy Wellington, right? These are, if we just go through here, all the names of all the people that have been promoting these schemes are now on this, which is absolutely fantastic. A lot of these guys we know, we watch in Zoom meetings day in, day out. But now we can see all these people that have been dragged into, this, I don't know if it's a lawsuit or whatever it is. But I just went through here this morning. I was looking through this thing. Oh my goodness, I've mentioned everybody. All these individuals that have been involved in Trader's Domain are now being named and shamed. And I presume this is some legal stuff that's come out. And these people's names are all in it. So this is what's happening. They've taken on the Avenger Network. Basically, if you come to here, this is the Ponzi schemes and scams that we investigate. If we come to the persons of interest, we have over 1,000 individuals that we've got in our database that are either promoting, running, or lying to people and promoting opportunities the same as this. It's just absolutely batshit crazy. All right, so where are we going? Anyway, so that may be true. All right. However, since regulators begin publishing warnings and serious questions emerged, once regulators begin publishing warnings and serious questions emerge about the underlying technology, continuing to recruit new participants carries greater responsibility. So these promoters that we talk about, that all these warnings come out and they use what they call willful blindness. They turn a blind eye to it. They don't want to know about it because they're too busy promoting it and getting the commissions. At that point, promoters are no longer introducing people to an unknown opportunity. People are fully aware of what they're doing. They are introducing them to an opportunity that has already attracted public scrutiny. The remainder of this investigation examines many of those individuals who claims that they made and the evidence available at the time they chose to continue promoting AURUM Foundation. So right now, if you're in a Zoom meeting and someone is promoting AURUM Foundation to you, they are already doing the naughty thing because they are promoting something which they have got more public warnings that you can shake a stick at. Even New Zealand FMA has done it. We'll find out in a second. Some have remained silent when others ask questions. Others have doubled down. A few have quietly shifted their focus to NEYRO. Now, NEYRO is basically the new version. They're using a new name so they can have another go, and then all the warnings that have come out will have to update their warnings with their rebranding. This is just another day in the office for the Avengers. NEYRO presenting itself as the next revolution to the same ecosystem. It's the oldest trick in the book. Whether they realize it or not, they are part of the story. Willful blindness is not going to save you. The regulators began to take notice. For years, AURUM Foundation presented itself as a revolutionary financial ecosystem built around artificial intelligence, digital banking, and cryptocurrency trading. Supporters pointed to the growing membership numbers, international events, and expanding product offerings as evidence that the company was all on path to becoming a global financial institution. Regulators saw something different. One after another, government agencies responsible for protecting investors began publishing warnings about AURUM Foundation, its associated websites, and its promotional activities. All through each regulator used its own legislative framework and terminology. A common theme emerged. So each country will have its own laws. Each country will have its own warning degrees that they go to. Very rarely do you find one of these regulators that come out and say it's a scam and everyone's a fraudster and they all should go to jail or go to hell. That's what we do. But regulators use more PC words. You may lose your money. Caution. Anyway, the timeline the timeline below illustrates how concerns spread across multiple countries. So first of all, we've got the date, the regulator, and action taken. So we've got the Bank of Russia was the very first person to actually raise alarm. Then it went to Nigeria. So Russia and Nigeria were putting out warnings, and that was unheard of. And that's when we did our first investigation. And then we've got New Zealand. Woo! Party in the house. Let's do a party. Let's do a round of applause for the FMA, which love me dearly. Yeah, and we'll even give them a show of hands, which I shouldn't do because I haven't got time to do, but a raise and another applause for the FMA in New Zealand actually did something. You know, when your own regulator is posting warnings about, about things that are happening in other countries, it's pretty amazing. But anyway, good on your financial regulator. That's amazing. And additional regulators. So we actually had authorities in countries including Belgium, France, Greece, Hong Kong, Poland, Australia, and also published warnings that took action against this company. Now, you'd think there would be enough to stop everyone in the tracks, wouldn't you? What makes the timeline significant is not simply the number of warnings. Regulators operate independently. They apply different laws, investigate different evidence, and serve different populations. Does that make sense? I think it does. Yet, despite those differences, authorities in multiple jurisdictions reached the conclusion that AURUM warranted public attention. The investigators examined many of the regulatory actions in greater detail. Some focus on unlicensed financial services, Others questioned their company's banking representations. They call themselves a bank. Come on. Several identify characteristics commonly associated with pyramid and Ponzi-style schemes, while others refer matters for further investigation. So these are ongoing investigations about this company, but they've started the investigation. They thought we'd better put a warning out there to the public because you guys need to be protected. We don't want to find you guys at the bottom of the cliff when you've mortgaged all your house, where you've put all your life savings, where you've moved your 401k over, and you thought you knew better because you loved the app and you love looking at your nice new phone and the shiny app and the figure on it that said that you're rich, and then you lose it all because the app disappears. Taken individually, each warning deserves careful consideration. I've even seen scammers tell you that they're not allowed to be in certain countries because there's warnings in those countries, even in the States. So then people would say, oh, but that doesn't apply to our state. I'm in California, so we don't need to apply that law that was issued in, Alberta Security Commission, whatever it is. Incredible. Viewed collectively, they raise a much larger question. Are you ready for the question, ladies and gentlemen? How many independent regulators need to express concern before promoters stop telling people everything is fine? At what point do the promoters be held accountable for their actions? Russian fires the first warning shot. The first major warning didn't come from a blogger or a disgruntled investor or a competitor. It came from a government regulator. Even Russia is doing it. They're busy in war, but we still put these warnings out. The 18th of July 2025, the Bank of Russia added AURUM Foundation to its public warning list. The entire identified the organisation as displaying signs of financial pyramid, placing it aside other entries the regulator believed warranted caution. While AURUM supporters were celebrating international expansion and promotion, the platform as the future of AI-powered finance. I don't know if I said that. One of the world's largest financial regulators was telling consumers to exercise caution. So here we are on one hand, the promoter saying everything's fine, we're the future of finance, and the government just doesn't like us because we're going to upset the banking system. That's what they'll say. And then they're just business as normal, doubling down as we mentioned earlier on. That warning became even more significant a few months later, so they've updated the warning. Rather than disappearing from the regulator's radar, the entry was updated on the 7th of October 2025, suggesting the concerns had not been resolved. For me, that was important development. Regulators do not typically revisit warning lists without reason. It indicated that AURUM Foundation remained a company worthy of undergoing attention. So here we are. That's the warning. I haven't linked those through because I was a bit limited on time, but I'm sure that you can search for AURUM Foundation, Bank of Russia, and you'll find the actual report if you want to do it. So I'm just going to read the next couple of paragraphs because I'm a bit perplexed.
Supporters often dismiss individual regulatory actions by claiming governments simply don't understand crypto. I've heard the argument countless times over the years. The problem is that it becomes increasingly difficult to maintain when multiple independent regulators, operating under different legal systems and investigating different evidence, begin reaching similar conclusions. The Russian warning wasn't the end of the story, it was the beginning. Over the months that followed, authorities in other parts of the world also started asking difficult questions about AURUM Foundation's activities. Some focused on its investment representations, others questioned its banking claims. Several warned consumers that the company was not authorized to provide the financial services it was advertising.
Amazing. The pattern was beginning to emerge, and each new warning added another piece to the puzzle. This jigsaw puzzle is becoming absolutely amazing. Now, I am going to read the entire Nigerian claim with my computer. So
Nigeria raises the alarm. By the start of 2026, AURUM Foundation had continued expanding its international reach. Promoters were actively recruiting new members. The AI trading narrative remained central to the company's marketing, and investors were being encouraged to believe they were joining a revolutionary financial ecosystem. Then another regulator stepped in. On the 22nd of January, 2026, Nigeria's Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) issued a public warning concerning the AURUM bot. Unlike commentary from critics or investigative journalists, This warning came from the government agency responsible for overseeing Nigeria's capital markets and protecting investors. The sex warning wasn't vague. It stated that the AURUM bot was not registered with the Commission and warned the public that the operation displayed characteristics commonly associated with the Ponzi scheme. Nigeria Securities and Exchange Commission warning issued the 22nd of January, 2026, finding AURUM was not registered with the SEC and exhibited characteristics associated with the Ponzi-style investment operation. For anyone already following the investigation, the Nigerian warning was significant because it echoed concerns that had already been raised elsewhere. Once again, regulators weren't criticizing the quality of the software or debating whether artificial intelligence might outperform human traders. They were focusing on a far more fundamental issue. People were being invited to participate in what appeared to be an investment opportunity without the regulatory authorization expected for that type of activity. As I compared the sex warning with CryptoG's blockchain analysis, another question emerged. If the company's AI trading model genuinely existed and consistently generated the returns being advertised, why were independent regulators focusing on investor protection rather than celebrating a breakthrough in financial technology? That's a question AURUM Foundation has yet to answer convincingly. By now, the pattern was becoming difficult to ignore. The warning from Russia could perhaps be dismissed as an isolated event. Nigeria made that explanation far less convincing, and as the months progressed, additional regulators across Europe, Asia and Oceania would begin reaching remarkably similar conclusions.
Yeah, so they did. So New Zealand brings the warning home. On the 14th of May 2026, never too late to join the party, the investigators reached their own, my own backyard. Yes, I live in New Zealand, where New Zealand financial markets have published a caution about AURUM Foundation. The FMA confirmed AURUM has been promoted to New Zealand consumers through social media, and the social media platforms really have to help us with this fight against. I'm going to be part of some big scam event coming up in the meantime, and that's one of my things I'm going to. The social media platforms really need to actually wake up and stop helping people promote these scams. I'll probably lose my YouTube channel because I won't be able to determine a scam fighter versus a scam promoter, but who cares, eh? That detail matters. This was not simply an overseas website that a few New Zealanders had stumbled across by accident. The regulators are aware of active promotion taking place in local communities using the same relationship-based recruitment methods I had already been documenting. The warning identified two AURUM domains, and that's AURUM Foundation and this one here, which when you go to that one, if you look at that, it literally just, I think it redirects to the right one. No, it stays put. So this is the same website. It may be a different website. It looks actually a little bit different, interestingly enough. We did find another one yesterday. We found, I think we found this one. So this is another website. Just wondering if it looks exactly the same. That is actually two different websites, would you believe? And then yesterday we found that one that was hyphenated. So aurum-foundation.com. And we didn't know whether this website was actually another company, but then when we clicked on their YouTube channel, we linked them all together. So there's three different domain names that I've just shown you for one company. Why is that necessary? And now they're rebranding themselves as well. The FMA also referred directly to public warnings already issued overseas concerning AURUM Foundation as an alleged AI trading service. In other words, New Zealand regulators were not examining the platform in isolation. It was recognizing the international pattern that had already began in Russia and Nigeria. So often if we go off here, this will take us off to, I presume it will take us off to his first, and this was May the 18th. Interesting, didn't realize it did that, so I might just remove that. I'm actually going to do it now because that's what I do. Let's go, because I don't like it when it goes down to here. Don't need to have that link there because I've already got an exclusive part. So there it goes there. Fancy that, sneaking that in there, right? It's not relevant, so I'll just get rid of that link. Do a bit of homework while I'm here and see if there's any other links while we're there. No. All right, so we'll go back to where we were, at ease. Hopefully that's it. There it is. So we're going to hit refresh on that in a second. There we go. Anyway, so as I said, we've seen 2 domain names, and I've just shown you a third. The FMA also referred directly to public warnings, which I already mentioned. We recommend caution when dealing with AURUM Foundation. AURUM supporters later tried to minimize the warnings by arguing that it was merely a technical issue involving registration. Oh my God. That interpretation leaves out the wider context. The FMA specifically drew attention to overseas warnings concerning pyramid-type characteristics with AI trading services, while acknowledging that the opportunity was being promoted directly to New Zealand consumers. That distinction is important. A company registration somewhere overseas does not automatically authorize a business to offer financial services within New Zealand. So this is another thing. We had another opportunity who just promoted their platform, and they were based in the Philippines. And I did an investigation, and I scrutinized the guy. It's called Signals. And I did a one-on-one interview with this individual here. And he was arguing that their laws are different. Applied to my email, but you didn't actually answer the questions. So he was telling me that in the Philippines, his laws are different, and business works different in the Philippines. So I pointed out to this individual that he was promoting his platform. He was telling people that his platform is successful in 41 other countries. So this is what we're saying here. The company registration, just because it's registered elsewhere, doesn't mean that New Zealanders can participate, because we have financial laws. And if they're offering it to New Zealanders, then our laws apply, not the country where the platform lives. Nor does incorporation prove that an AI trading system exists, that returns are generated through real market activity, or that investor funds are protected. And that's the thing. For me, the warnings had another significance. I was no longer investigating an opportunity operating elsewhere beyond the New Zealand borders. AURUM promoters had brought it directly to our local networks, and our own financial regulator is now telling the public to proceed with caution. They're pretty PC, our ones. The regulator pressure was no longer distant. It arrived to my home. So now we're going to have a quick look at this, and I'm going to read this faster with the computer.
Europe joins the investigation by mid-2026. It was no longer possible to dismiss the regulatory concerns surrounding AURUM Foundation as isolated incidents. Authorities from different parts of the world, operating under different legal systems and applying different financial laws, were all beginning to reach similar conclusions. While each regulator focused on its own jurisdiction, a consistent pattern was emerging. AURUM was promoting financial products and services without the authorizations those regulators expected. Instead of repeating the same warning in every country, each authority added another layer to the picture.
Right, so I've just been told that my audio is echoing, which is a pain in the bum. But anyway, I'm just going to take off an echo button and put it back on again, so you'll need to excuse me for 10 seconds. Okay, hopefully that is better, and we'll try just having that paragraph again. Let me know if when I read the words it's echoing, is it?
Instead of repeating the same warning in every country, each authority added another layer to the picture.
Thank you very much. Hopefully that's better. Let's find out in the comment section whether there's any echo left. Sorry about that. It's just so complicated in my life when trying to do this, but that's great that you pointed that out to me. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we've got all the other countries. How many countries do we need? So we're just going to read out Belgium, France, Greece, Hong Kong, Poland, Australia. So 6 other countries. I think we're up to 7. So that's 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 warnings have come out about this company. Now, I don't need to read all those, but if you want to, you can go to Behind MLM and you can actually search for AURUM and you can find links to all the government agencies. Reading these warnings individually is informative. Reading them all together is something else entirely. The terminology varies from country to country. The regulators focus on unauthorized financial services. Others refer to virtual asset trading, investment products, banking representation, MICA compliance. Now that's England. It's a real big deal. If you haven't got MICA compliance, don't know where you've been. We should do a whole blog about that. Actually, would be good. Or potential criminal offences, willful blindness, promoting securities, pay to play all comes to mind. That is exactly what you should expect from different agencies applying different legislation. Now, the thing is, I get individuals coming to me telling me they read my blog at the time and they didn't think I was real or authentic. I've just been doing this for 5 years. I've just taken down a $328 million Ponzi schemer in Florida, Christopher Delgado. I've been on CoffeeZilla, 4.2 million views in 2 months in his video that he did about me investigating these guys. If you don't want to listen to us, then don't come back and tell us later on that you thought you knew better with you and your wee mind and yourself and your brain cell making an informed decision because you've got an emotional connection to an investment opportunity that you know nothing about. What is remarkably consistent, however, is that none of these regulators endorse AURUM's claim. They are not saying things like they are doing AI trading, it's amazing, but they're a bit off target. They are not even supporting any of their claims. I clicked the wrong button then. Let's try that one. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that bell there because you'll be notified when I go live. And I do live streaming, and then I cut up this video and I will put it out as a new video when I render it and edit bits out of it, like bits where I've missed the sound and echoey stuff and all that sort of carry on. Also, if you do subscribe, I get Sadie. She doesn't get paid anything around here. She's a lovely girl that works in the office and she cleans everyone's screens who subscribe. Back under the desk you go. Thank you very much. You're awesome. What is remarkably consistent, however, is that none of these regulators authorize AURUM's claim. None suggest investors could rely on the platform's AI trading system. None confirmed its banking representations. Instead, they issued caution, blacklisted websites, questioned authorization, or referred matters for further investigation. Wake up, everybody. At this point, this investigation has moved beyond online debate. The concerns have become international. The obvious questions that became how did AURUM continue attracting new investors while regulators around the world were issuing increasing serious warnings? The answer lies not in the blockchain, but with the people who continue promoting the opportunity. As I said earlier on, these persons of interest, we've got over 1,000 of them. This is what they do for full time. They sit here, like these individuals here. This guy here sits here and tells people to sign up because he's getting a commission when people sign up for a platform. It's disgusting. The people selling the dream. One of the biggest misconceptions about opportunities like AURUM Foundation is the people join because they read, joined because they read the smart contracts or independently analyze the blockchain. They don't. Most people join because someone they know and trust introduces them to the opportunity. That might be your mate, your friend, your pub buddy, your wife even, a family member, a church acquaintance, a respected business owner, a social media influencer. And all of a sudden, you're looking at them and you think, oh, look, they've got a flash car. They're making lots of money. And you think you know how they're doing it. They will lie to you. And when it all goes pear-shaped, they will tell you they had more money than you invested and they lost bigger than you. And they're in the same boat as you. And they'll ask if they can get in your life raft. These are serial promoters of MLM, multi-level marketing. And they're the bottom feeders of the planet. And I've had people, I had one ring me up, and this is how I got into this back in April 2021. Someone I hadn't heard from for 4 years saw us in the newspaper trying to find a place to live. We're on the front cover, as you do. And then they said, if you come along to me on Wednesday, I'll take you to a seminar where that if you invest, you'd have enough money to buy yourself a new house. That's what he said to me. And I said, what's the name of the scam? He said, I'm not going to tell you. If I tell you, you won't come along. I said, tell me because I'm not coming along anyway. Kent Berryman, Shirley Berryman. And anyway, it was Hyperverse. And that's when I started investigating Hyperverse, did my first video, and the rest is history. 2,000 plus videos later. So it's going to be a friend, somebody that you trust, somebody who know has made a lot of money doing crypto, because that's what you'll say. Somebody who drives a nice car, lifestyle marketing. Let's think of Chris Delgado. Anyway, they're the people that are going to recruit you into it. And now's a good time to think about what I just said, ladies and gentlemen. If you think that you know better than me, then I have little wee donations that you can do. You can just donate and go away and do your own investing. Or if you want to, I got these ebooks on the website. You click on that orange thing, it says order now. There's a thing called ebooks. You go in here. There's 5 booklets that you can purchase. One's called the Investment Scam Survival Guide. If you want to support me, even donate and help me get me to Orlando so I can watch Christopher Delgado spend 50 years of his life, which he's already pleaded guilty to, in jail, then buy these books, read up, get smarter, learn about how these investments work or they don't work, and read the warning signs. The recruitment trap is the one I'm just talking about. I've sold one. Goodness me, buy this book for $5 instead of supporting me with a cup of coffee, and help send it to people who are trying to recruit you into these investment scams. That's the only way you're going to save yourself. So it will be somebody you know, an online successful entrepreneur who appears to have already achieved the lifestyle that many people desire. That's how trust is transferred. Very few presentations begin by explaining liquidity pools, smart contracts, blockchain architecture. Instead, they begin with emotion. How do you feel about that, Danny? Well, I think you're a piece of shit. Get out of my face is what you need to say. The audience is shown financial freedom, nice car, airplane, holiday, the lifestyle you already want. Don't you want to have a passive income? It's bullshit. Go get a job. Passive income. Early retirement. Oh, it sounds great. Too good to be true. I was going to live in a paradise earth for the rest of my life, and they told me I would never die. I believed that. That was the vision. I didn't care what people told me about the religion, because I was focused on the passive income or the eternal life in paradise, where all the wicked people, the unrighteous ones, were going to be destroyed, and the righteous people are going to live forever. I'm glad I got that off my chest. Early retirement. Oh, I don't like working. I want early retirement. And the promise that artificial intelligence has finally made consistent wealth available to ordinary people. Is that the bullshit they told you? Once the emotional connection has been established, the brainwashing, the gaslighting is all paid off. The technical questions tend to disappear. Don't ask those questions. A pattern I've seen before. You may have figured that out by now. Over the years, I've investigated hundreds of investment schemes, and all throughout the products consistently change. And although the products constantly change, the recruitment strategy really dies. The language evolves, the technology evolves, the buzzwords evolve, but the sales psychology remains remarkably consistent. Just keep talking to them. Keep in touch with them. Tell them they're missing out, the fear of missing out techniques. The people that encourage to believe they have discovered something exclusive before the rest of the world catches on. You know, Bitcoin. No one believes Bitcoin. Now look at Bitcoin. It's worth, what is it, $80 sometimes? $80,000 of Bitcoin. No one believed that, and they missed out. You don't want to miss out here. Questions become negativity. Can't ask any questions. I don't know much about crypto. I'm a bit worried that it might be a scam. Oh, don't be negative. Skepticism becomes fear. Independent validation becomes unnecessary. Verification becomes unnecessary because someone else claims they've already done the work for you. That pattern was evident throughout AURUM's promotional materials. Trust us, we've got experts. You don't need to be an expert. You know what an expert is? Well, it's actually a drip under pressure. Yes, expert, get it? As the investigation progressed, I began documenting the individuals publicly promoting AURUM's foundation, and more recently, NEYRO. Someone hosted webinar, another produced YouTube videos, appeared on podcasts, organized Zoom meetings, and built communities across Telegram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Many describe themselves as educators rather than salespeople, despite actively encouraging people to join the platform through their referral links. The section is not about attacking people for holding an opinion. It is about accountability. When regulators across multiple countries have been issued regulatory regulators across multiple platforms have been, that's a big booba. Let's just get that all out so Danny doesn't have to get tongue twisted. Here we go. Let's go.
When regulators across multiple countries have already issued public warnings and serious technical questions have been raised about the underlying business model,
Troy.
anyone continuing to recruit new investors should reasonably expect their public claims to be examined. The individuals featured in the following sections have all chosen to promote AURUM or NEYRO publicly. Their own videos, presentations, social media posts and marketing material form part of the evidence examined throughout this investigation.
Now, unfortunately, I'm getting pushed for time, so I'm going to get this read. So we're going to go straight into building trust before the money, asking for money.
One of the most revealing parts of this investigation wasn't found in the blockchain or the regulatory warnings. It came from sitting through AURUM's presentations, watching countless promotional videos and observing how the opportunity was introduced to new prospects. Very little time was spent explaining how the AI supposedly generated profits. A great deal of time was spent explaining why people should trust the people presenting it. The emphasis wasn't on audited trading performance or independently verified financial statements. Instead, presenters highlighted community, leadership, testimonials, international events, lifestyle, personal transformation, and the idea that members were participating in something much bigger than a simple investment platform.
Yeah, so you can just see here, I've just gone to the internet and I've searched. I'm already finding crypto scam companies trying to tell people how they can get their money back. But you can actually go through here and you can see there's so much material on here from these influencers telling you that you're going to miss out if you don't invest. So don't fall for that. Don't listen to these liars, these scammers who are trying to mislead you because you will get hurt. All right, so one of the most revealing parts, did I read that already? Oh, goodness me. Anyway, very little time to spend explaining how the AI supposedly generated profit. So all these promoters are all talking about how much rich you're going to get from promoting it, rather than just, if you really think about it, just using Danny logic without even doing it, why do they need people's money if this is so good? So that approach is remarkably effective because it changes the conversation. Instead of asking where the audited trading is coming from, who regulates the financial products, can the AI performance be independently verified, prospective members are being asked, how do I get started? Which package should I buy? Who introduced you to the opportunity? So you can't just go along there and sign up, because you have to have somebody who refers you into it. So why is the emphasis? Why do you need to have somebody underneath you to sign up for a platform? You ever ask that question? It's really simple, isn't it? You don't, do you? Let's read that.
It's a subtle but important shift. The focus moves away from evidence and towards emotion.
Right, and then the illusion of credibility. They claim they're somebody's.
The illusion of credibility. Throughout my investigation, I found repeated references to well-known organizations, technologies and financial concepts that, at first glance, appeared to strengthen AURUM's credibility. Promotional material referred to.
Now, if you are on my website, thank you very much, you can come down to my website and you can actually see that I have all these companies that have listed and talked about me on my website. You can click on each and every one of those and you can go through and read about me in those articles. I've made them links. See, you go to the Florida there, and there it is, and look, it's got Danny DeHeck's name in it, you know. But when you're looking at these other scams, they have things on their own website, don't they? So if you come here and you click on that link, you go to their website, there will be no doubt be some other links of, you know, here we go here. So they've always got them, and they're claiming that they have a relationship with all these exchanges. What a load of rubbish. Nowhere on these exchanges do you see any endorsement for AURUM Foundation. It's just ridiculous. We'll get rid of him so he doesn't distract us. We'll get rid of the music that doesn't distract us. But this is what we're talking about here. Promotion in which you're referred to artificial intelligence, blockchain transparency, digital banking, international licenses, Forbes, Binance, Cointelegram, global expansion, hundreds of thousands of community members. All this here, these words are to build a relationship with your brain. None of those references automatically prove legitimacy, and that's what we've got to get through to your brain. Equally, none automatically prove misconduct. That's crypto, not crypto G, what do you call it? That is ChatGPT being PC. The important question is whether those references actually reflect the underlying business. That's why CryptoG's blockchain analysis is so important. It doesn't lie. Instead of relying on branding, reputation, he examined what could actually be verified. That lesson investors should remember long after this investigation is over. If you've chose to ignore the evidence that the vehicle that claims it can travel at 400 miles an hour that doesn't have an engine, then you deserve to lose your money.
A professional website can be built in weeks. A global conference can be organized. A polished presenter can attract thousands of followers. But the blockchain doesn't care about marketing. It simply records what happened.
Right, and that's why the next stage of this investigation focuses on individuals who choose to publicly promote AURUM Foundation and later NEYRO. In other words, videos and presentations provide an opportunity to compare what investors were told with that evidence that now appears to show. So we've got the receipts. There's no excuse for anyone to be promoting this now, and definitely no echo, I presume. Don't ignore the evidence. That's right, Susie. Get in there. Don't ignore the evidence. Susie's waving her flag. Don't ignore the evidence. That's what we rely on. We all like to have 100% transparency on everything that we investigate. We would love to be able to go into AURUM's company and do an audit and walk into their offices if they exist, which I don't think they do, and find all the stuff that they claim and verify ourselves, but they don't. We have to reverse engineer our investigations. We have to dig deep. We have to go through the blockchain where the evidence lies, and we find our stuff. The blockchain doesn't care about the marketing. Have we got that true? One lesson I've learned after investigating hundreds of investment schemes is that every company has a story. Some tell you they've built the future of banking. Others claim they develop revolutionary artificial intelligence proprietary, I can't even say it, something trading.
Proprietary,
Very clever, trading, algorithms, and secret investment strategies capable of outperforming the market. Really? Wow, that sounds too good to be true. The story is always different. The evidence is what matters. That's why CryptoG's report became such an important part of this investigation. It shifted the discussion away from presentation testimonials and promotional videos and back to something far more objective, the blockchain itself. The blockchain doesn't lie. Now, CryptoG, I would say he's in love with blockchain technology. It would be fair to say. I'm not. I don't care. I think the whole lot is a sham. There we go. Heard it there for. I'm not a lover of crypto. I do have crypto. And in fact, I'm going to give all my crypto to CryptoG, and he's going to use it for the Avenger Anti-Fraud Alliance, to put that there, because I'm just crypto rich. But the other day I said, he can have all my crypto. I don't want any crypto. He can have it all. And not he himself, but our organization. Unlike a website, a blockchain cannot quietly remove a claim after it has been challenged. It cannot edit yesterday's transaction or rewrite the movement of funds. It's always there. Every deposit, transfer, interaction with smart contract leaves a permanent record. That's why you can't edit those smart contracts, because they're part of the blockchain. And anyone can independently examine it. So do so if you're thinking that if you've got a feeling and you've got a belief about AURUM Foundation and you want to go on that, you knock yourself out. But if you want to criticize us and our blockchain investigation, then you prove that that's wrong, because you can't. Blockchain don't lie. That transparency is one of the cryptocurrency's greatest strengths. And that's what I do love, the technology. And I just don't have any interest for crypto or trading it or trying to make money, because I just think, where does it come from? Where does the wealth of crypto come from? Anyway, and in this case, it's become one of the investigation's most valuable witnesses. As I worked through the evidence with CryptoG, I found myself asking the same question repeatedly. If the platform is genuinely powered by AI trading, where is the evidence of the trading? It wasn't a hostile question. It wasn't a rhetorical question.
This meeting is being recorded.
Apologize.
Ooh. Here we go. Crypto tech starting up. Oh, that's a pain. 21 people so far. I haven't got time for this.
Let me see.
Hey, look at this. You can share
Getting
the
everything
screen.
set up real quick.
Hold it. I'm going to have a go. I'm just going to go in here and share my screen because I can. 1 second, please, caller. This will be a bit of fun. This is a live meeting where they're promoting another.
Everything working. All right, my audio's working. Cool. Craig Bex, we in the building. Welcome to the call. Welcome to the call. So sorry for being late. I was getting my hair done. It took like
Looks
6
nice, mate.
hours. Remember, Tuesday when I was on the call, I was actually at rehearsal for a movie I'm going to be in shooting this weekend. And I see Danny is trying to join. Let me go ahead and block him.
So Danny is getting. Do you see what happened then? Danny is getting. Is going to join. So they went and blocked me.
1 second.
They know me. I've never been in here.
Okay, so we're gonna get right into it here with Crybex. We know we have a lot of exciting updates, made massive changes to really, enhance what we've already been a part of, right? Right now, I'm actually going to stop accepting people into the call because I know he's gonna come back. I know he's gonna come back, and we're not doing that tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my screen shared here.
See what I mean, though? So they already know who I am. Why would a legitimate company be concerned about someone?
And we're gonna go straight into it.
And I'm going
Crybex,
to
has been a big blessing to me. Again, my name is Coach Chosen. Real name is Keith Sweat. I've been a part of this opportunity since February.
I'll just do another one.
And since I've been a part of this opportunity, it has been nothing less than great, right? I've seen so much adjustments that has changed for the better in this opportunity.
So I'm just going to keep going in there.
Multiple change because of this opportunity, and
I'm going to go in there with multiple
the results
connections until he lets me in.
From Crybex has been amazing.
Is it? There's another one.
This opportunity, just to give you a disclaimer, and I actually have to do it verbatim, right? Digital asset trading involves a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The value of digital assets can fluctuate significantly, and users may lose.
He won't be able to help himself because there's now 3 people in the room.
Crybex provides AI-powered tools, automation, and market analysis for informational and execution purposes only, and does not provide financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. Crybex does not guarantee profits, daily returns, fixed income, capital protection,
so you got no guarantees, in other words.
Results, right? So we're not guaranteeing you anything. We're not guaranteeing your results. We're not telling you there's going to be a millionaire tomorrow. We're not doing any of that. Okay. Your results is going to be based upon your own experience. You're going to have your own experience upon an opportunity, right? Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance. Before trading, users should carefully consider their investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite, and seek independent professional advice where necessary.
So now
by using the platform, users acknowledge and accept all risks associated with digital asset trading and investment activities.
1 minute, please call it.
So we're just covering all bases. Understand that if you get started today and the first trade is a lesson, aka a loss, that could be somebody's experience.
All right, now I've got 5 connections ready, and he's going to mention my name again.
That could be somebody's experience. We don't know what anyone's experience is going to be until they actually have their own experience.
Now he's going to talk about me again.
Right. We're a UK registered software company. Developing AI-powered trading technologies, intelligent financial solutions, and digital ecosystems for the next generation of global users.
This guy's window. Maria, if you're going to scribble over the
to start this opportunity to help the masses, right? Yeah. To empower people, to help them understand that there's technology out there that can enable us to be a little smarter with the decisions that's made inside the trade that's being taken.
Walter's in here. Oh my goodness.
So having that assistant, having that help makes it a lot easier. And then the vision, of course, is to become a global leader in the AI and financial technology.
That's their vision.
Which will be transforming lives with the digital economy.
Will you now?
So we're positioning ourselves to be number 1.
Oh, is that right?
That's the goal. To show everyone how powerful this tool is.
And once again, this is another company
that I was speaking
regulatory
of Miss Maria, this lady right here. This opportunity is her calling.
Oh my God.
Right? This
and she's a house mom, I think.
To get people a part of an opportunity that can help them change their lives for the masses. Change their life for the best.
All right, let's go.
And it's followed by Coach Noah, right? Shout out to Coach Noah. Current CMO. Has a vision to help the masses as well. So it's like when people align themselves with the same end goal and everybody's playing their part, it makes it a lot easier. It makes the goal a lot sustainable, right? We can make it happen.com when everybody's doing a little bit, so nobody has to do a lot, right? Then we have our current communications, Miss Natalie, right?
Miss Natalie, do you look
super intelligent, very, I'm pretty sure y'all been on her calls, so she knows the information. She's having a lot of fun and making money while she's doing it as well, right? So when we're talking about Crybacks, what is it that you're getting?
Nothing.
Right?
You're getting scammed.
We pretty much, and like it says here,
is Larry Lane in here?
Automation, market intelligence, and risk management together. Utilizing AI to go out there and scan the markets, learn the patterns, and then execute myself when it happens again, so that way it doesn't miss the
All right,
trade.
I'm going to go in there and just kill this meeting.
No matter if we get busy, no matter if we get sick or whatever the case could be, the system is still going to be going to work for us.
Okay.
Once we realize in this thing called life that we as the individual are the problem and we as the individual are the solution,
all right,
everything changes.
I paste it?
Most people lack access to the advanced tools. We're giving people access to those advanced tools.
Advanced tool.
Most people don't know what market intelligence really is. We're giving that as well. And then, of course, we all love automation.
This is a scam, everybody. He can't validate anything he's saying. We're broadcasting this meeting live at the moment, and everybody in the room is getting broadcast on Danny DeHeck's YouTube channel.
Hey, Danny, can we set up a call?
No, because you're actually a fraudster, mate.
Go on it.
You're a criminal, and you're going to go to jail, and we've already got the FBI after you. So if you want to save yourself, if you want to save yourself from being scammed, don't leave this meeting.
Yes, indeed.
I've done a review on this company. They are running a fraud. This is corruption.
You've actually done a lot of research on a lot of companies, and you try to do that.
I do it for a living.
And let me
I've
ask
just busted a 300. No, you're not asking me questions here, mate. I've just taken down a $328 million scammer, and I'm coming after you. Why are you using a fake name for you? Why are you using a fake name? What you can do is kick me out.
Great job.
You're a scammer.
Yeah,
and you're
because you won't answer no questions.
All right. So yeah. Anyway, back to my thing. That's what we do. All right. So where was I? It wasn't a rhetorical question. It wasn't an obvious question. An obvious question. Oblivious.
It was the obvious question.
Every new contract we examined, every wallet we traced, every transaction we followed, brought back to the same point. Instead of finding clear evidence and sophisticated artificial intelligence, as they claim, artificial intelligence was actively buying and selling digital assets on behalf of investors, we found ourselves documenting a series of observations that appeared increasingly difficult to reconcile with the public marketing. So these guys are really out there telling everybody one thing that is there's no evidence of it whatsoever, even though they're claiming to use the blockchain highway to do all their transactions. And after tracking $31 million in 17 days, we can see that they're doing nothing with the money other than hiding it and moving it to other places where they can steal it. It's unreal. That does not mean every question has been answered, and we don't need every question. Like if I gave you a glass of water and told you that only 1% of it has arsenic in it, would you drink it if you were thirsty? I hope not. That doesn't mean every question had been answered. It means a burden of explanation now shifts. Explanation? I can't say these words.
Explanation.
I did get it right. Burden of explanation now shifts. When a company asks people to trust an AI system with their money, an independent blockchain analyst appears inconsistent with those claims. Analysts appear inconsistent with the claims that they are making. Investors deserve more than slogans. They deserve evidence that can withstand independent scrutiny. The next section examines the smart contracts themselves and specific functions crypto G's identifies during the forensic analysis. So we haven't stopped here, ladies and gentlemen. Rather than relying on a broad conclusion, we'll look at what the code actually appears to do and just as importantly, what it appears not to do. Now, as you do, I will actually shut down these windows as I go through to see whether we actually have that still open, which I might not. I think I actually shut it before. But what we're saying is this contract is available in this blog at the top, which you can find. So this is where the investigation had to slow down. Promotional videos can be watched in minutes. Blockchain transactions can be followed with Blockchain Explorer. Smart contracts are different. They require patience, technical knowledge, and the willingness to separate the code, what the code actually does from what people claims it does. So smart contracts sound smart because it's got the word smart in it. Maxwell Smart, you may remember him. Crypto G examined the contracts associated with AURUM ecosystem, looking for something very specific. The mechanism responsible for the advertised AI trading activity. So these smart contracts, there should be signs of sophisticated trading in the smart contracts. There was none. And I'm pushed for time at the moment, so I'm going to actually read this and hopefully we'll get through this page.
If investor funds were genuinely being deployed through an automated trading strategy, there should be some identifiable pathway connecting deposits to that activity. That might involve interactions with exchanges, decentralized trading protocols, liquidity pools, external contracts, automated execution functions, or other on-chain behavior consistent with active trading. According to Crypto G's analysis, that evidence was not apparent. What he identified instead were functions associated with receiving funds, managing liquidity, and retaining administrative control over parts of the system. That distinction matters. A contract moving tokens into a liquidity pool is not the same as an AI executing a trading strategy. A contract redistributing funds is not proof that external profits were generated. An automated function is not automatically an artificial intelligence system.
You know, it's really important to understand what's going on here, and I've got a wee illustration.
The word automated is frequently used in cryptocurrency marketing because it sounds technical and sophisticated. But many smart contracts are automated. They follow coded instructions whenever specific conditions are met. That alone does not make them intelligent. It does not prove they analyze market data. It does not prove they make trading decisions. It does not prove they generate profits.
So imagine this. These smart contracts are meant to be smartly going into trading, online trading, working out the highs and lows with automation, executing trades, taking profits, and then dividending it all up. So what I can really liken it to is somebody going into the bank, depositing money. As I said, it goes into the bank and then it goes out the back door. And the guy takes it out the back door, goes to one of the money exchanges that you see when you travel. And then they change it into different currencies. And then they send it, maybe with FedEx, to other countries. And then they put it into their banks and it goes through their system and then it comes out again. That's all they're doing is moving the money around. It's not like they're going into the stock exchange with the money they've got. So they don't leave the bank, go to the stock exchange, put it onto NASDAQ, trade brilliantly. Often they tell you they have 90% success rate and they only use 5% of your principal to do the trading, so you've got no real risk, all this sort of shit they tell you. We don't see any evidence of that in the contracts. Regardless of what we see happening on the blockchain, that's one thing we've already proven. Now we're going to look at the smart contracts, which have a smart name. These contracts aren't that smart. What Crypto G was looking for, he examined them. He's an expert. The forensic review focused on several straightforward questions. Where does investors' money enter into the system? Not rocket science. Which contract receives and controls the funds? Not a big question there, ladies and gentlemen. What happens to the assets after they arrive? Well, you may be surprised. I can tell you now, but let's not kill your fun. Are there identifiable interactions consistent with active trading? Are we talking trading here? There's no trading activity. Which functions can administer, change, or control? So which functions can administrators, change or control? Cool. All right, everything's happening here. Can the advertised returns be connected to independently verified trading? No. The most important finding was not the discovery of hidden lines of malicious code. It was the apparent absence of code and activity needed to support central marketing claims. That is an important difference. CryptoG was not claiming that every component of AURUM's infrastructure has been identified with off-chain activity was impossible. Sorry, but what it's basically saying that, there is still some activity that could happen offline, but there's no evidence of it at all. So if we're giving them the benefit of the doubt, it doesn't look good. I'm going to read this, sorry.
A company could argue that some operations occur through private systems, centralized exchanges or infrastructure that cannot be fully observed through a public blockchain. But that explanation creates another problem. AURUM's promoters repeatedly leaned on blockchain transparency as part of the platform's credibility. If the blockchain is used to reassure investors, then it is reasonable for investigators to ask what the blockchain actually proves. So far, the public evidence appears capable of showing deposits, transfers, liquidity movements and administrative functions. What it does not appear to provide is a clear, independently verifiable record of the AI trading operations supposedly generating the returns.
Yeah, so it's not doing what they say. It's not rocket science.
The burden of proof. This investigation is not asking AURUM to reveal every trade secret or publish proprietary source code. The standard is much simpler. Show that the trading exists. Provide independently verifiable trading records. Identify the exchanges or protocols where the activity occurs. Explain how the profits are generated. Publish an audit that connects investor deposits, genuine external trading revenue and member returns. Until that evidence is produced, the public is being asked to accept one of AURUM's most important claims largely on trust. And after examining the contracts, the wallets and the movement of funds, trust was no longer enough. The next step was to follow the money beyond the contract itself and examine where tens of millions of dollars appeared to travel after entering the system.
Yeah, so revealing every trade secret isn't what we're asking them to do, but I don't believe they've got any trade secrets whatsoever. So we're now following the money.
Following the money. If the smart contracts raised questions, the movement of funds raised even more. CryptoG's analysis didn't stop at examining the code. The next step was to follow the flow of cryptocurrency across the blockchain and determine what happened after investors deposited their money. Unlike traditional banking, public blockchains allow anyone to trace transactions between wallets. Every transfer is recorded, time-stamped and permanently preserved. While a wallet address doesn't automatically identify its owner, the movement of funds can still reveal patterns that deserve closer examination.
Yeah. During the period, so this is, so as we mentioned, we showed you in the graph, you can just download the PDF and read it yourself, or this is our conclusion.
During the period analyzed, one of the primary wallets associated with the ecosystem received approximately $31.7 million through more than 120 inbound transactions. According to CryptoG's report, approximately $30.5 million was subsequently redistributed across a network of connected wallets and contracts. Those figures are significant by themselves. However, they do not prove fraud, profitability or the existence of genuine trading activity. They simply establish one undeniable fact: large amounts of investor capital were moving through the system. That naturally leads to the next question.
What economic activity generated returns been promised by members?
If the platform's public claims are accurate, investigators would expect to find evidence capable of linking investor deposits to profitable external trading activity. Whether those trades occurred on centralized exchanges, decentralized protocols or through another mechanism, there should ultimately be a trail demonstrating how profits were created before they were distributed. According to the blockchain analysis, that connection was not readily apparent. Instead, CryptoG documented a complex network of wallet movements, liquidity interactions and administrative activity that appeared considerably easier to observe than any independently verifiable AI trading operation. That distinction is critical. Moving funds between wallets is not the same as generating investment returns. Redistributing cryptocurrency is not evidence that profits were earned from successful market trades, and large transaction volumes, impressive though they may appear, do not explain where the money actually came from. Throughout this investigation, I kept returning to a simple principle that has guided much of my work over the years. Follow the money. Marketing tells you what a company wants you to believe. The blockchain tells you where the money went. Those two stories should support one another. When they don't, investigators have an obligation to keep asking questions. The next stage of CryptoG's forensic review moved beyond wallet activity and into something even more revealing. The internal architecture of the platform itself, including administrative controls, back-end behavior and technical observations that ordinary investors would never see from their dashboard alone.
Yeah, so we're probably going to go over time on this one, but I am going to keep reading this, so I really want to get these to you. I think this investigation is absolutely incredible. That's why I was so compelled to actually do this blog.
Looking beyond the dashboard for most investors, the dashboard is where the story begins and ends. It displays balances, daily rewards, account growth and reassuring statistics designed to create confidence that everything is operating exactly as promised. As long as the numbers continue to increase, few people stop to ask how those figures are actually being generated. Investigators have to ask a different question. What sits behind the dashboard? CryptoG's forensic analysis went beyond the public interface and examined technical behavior that ordinary members would never normally see. While the average user only interacts with colorful graphs and account balances, the underlying systems reveal how information is processed, where permissions exist and how the platform itself appears to operate. One of the more interesting aspects of the investigation involved analyzing back-end behavior and internal data structures. Without diving into unnecessary technical jargon, the findings suggested that some of what investors see on their screen should not automatically be interpreted as proof of genuine trading activity occurring in real time. That distinction is important. A dashboard can display almost anything its developers choose to display. It can calculate projected returns. It can estimate rewards. It can update balances according to predetermined rules. None of those functions, by themselves, prove that external profits have actually been generated. Throughout the review, CryptoG identified technical observations that warranted further scrutiny, including administrative controls and back-end behavior, that raised additional questions about how information was being presented to users. These findings do not, on their own, establish wrongdoing. However, they reinforce a recurring theme that has emerged throughout this investigation: the public-facing experience and the independently verifiable blockchain evidence do not always appear to tell the same story. That is precisely why transparency matters. If investor returns are genuinely being generated through sophisticated AI trading, there should be evidence capable of demonstrating that relationship independently of the dashboard itself. Investors should not be expected to rely solely on numbers displayed inside a member's portal, when objective verification ought to be possible. By this stage of the investigation, the pattern had become increasingly difficult to ignore. The marketing promised artificial intelligence. The dashboard displayed consistent growth. The blockchain showed the movement of funds. Yet the crucial link connecting those three elements remained frustratingly absent. It was time to step away from the technology and examine another equally important part of the story: the people who continued promoting the opportunity while these questions remained unanswered.
Yeah, and I think that's the bit that gets me the most. I just can't stand these people. That the one that we just gatecrashed here was another scheme, another scam. We've proven there's no proof. They don't care. And they want to have a private meeting with me and tell me why they want to believe something when they have, if we did a forensics report like we've got here of CryptoG, we would find that it doesn't exist. No, there's no proof. It's all belief, and it's all because they want a commission. They don't care about you.
The people behind the promotion technology may attract attention, but people build trust. Every investment opportunity, no matter how sophisticated its marketing, ultimately depends on individuals who are willing to stand in front of an audience and say, "I believe in this." They host webinars, upload videos, answer questions in Telegram groups, share screenshots of growing balances and reassure hesitant newcomers that the opportunity is genuine. Throughout this investigation, I reviewed presentations, social media posts, promotional videos and recruitment material from numerous individuals associated with AURUM Foundation and, more recently, NEYRO. The names were different. The countries were different.
Oh, he's ended the meeting. Funny enough, the guy that just finished, he's ended the meeting. were different. The languages were different. Yeah, so the names were different, the countries were different, the languages were different, but the message remained remarkably consistent. Members were told that artificial intelligence was generating reliable returns. Was it reliable? Reliable returns. They were encouraged to focus on the future rather than the critics. Regulatory concerns were often dismissed as misunderstandings, while blockchain technology was represented as proof that everything was transparency. But we've seen the blockchain activity now. We can see that it's just moving money around, shuffling money, recycling money. That's all they're doing. And it's ridiculous because the people that will be using the app will be able to withdraw their money every now and again, if not the money they've put in, the recruiters, as the scam grows. And then that will tell people that we don't know what we're talking about, but the only thing they're judging it on is the fact that they have withdrawn their money. Now, that's how Ponzi schemes work. Some people can withdraw the money, other people cannot withdraw the money. The people with the loud voices are often the ones who can withdraw their money. The quiet people who can't get their money will sit here waiting for it to be approved are the ones that will lose out. And then all of a sudden they just stop. Everyone loses and everyone wants our help.
Those representations deserve scrutiny because many prospective investors do not conduct their own technical analysis. They rely on the confidence and credibility of the person introducing them to the opportunity.
Right, we're starting to see an end of this, but we are going to keep reading because it's faster than me stumbling my way through it. So let's have a listen.
That places a significant responsibility on every promoter. Whether someone recruits one investor or 1,000, the same fundamental questions apply. What due diligence did they perform before recommending the platform? Did they independently verify the AI trading claims? Were they aware of the regulatory warnings issued in multiple jurisdictions? Have they reviewed the blockchain analysis, or are they simply repeating information supplied by the company? These are not unreasonable questions. They are the same questions that any responsible financial advisor, business owner, or community leader should expect when encouraging others to commit their money. It is also important to distinguish between different types of participants. Some people may have joined in good faith, genuinely believing the claims they were repeating. Others may have earned commissions or other incentives by recruiting new members. Their motivations may differ, but the importance of verifying the facts remains the same. This investigation is not about publicly shaming people for making a mistake. It is about accountability. When extraordinary claims are made about AI-powered trading, passive income, and financial freedom, those making the claims should be prepared to explain the evidence upon which those claims are based. The following profiles examine some of the most prominent public promoters, the statements they have made, and how those statements compare with the evidence uncovered during this investigation.
So yesterday when I was building this blog, it kept going on and on and on. It was a massive investigation. And, so what I basically started saying when I was using AI, I said, look, I've already covered a lot of this in my first investigation I had. So then it's come up with this paragraph to sort of start winding it up. So what changed between this investigation and the last investigation? Why did I do another blog exposing this company? Well, this is it in a nutshell.
What has changed since my first investigation? When I published my first investigation into AURUM Foundation, the focus was on the company's public claims, its compensation model, and the growing number of regulatory warnings emerging from around the world. Those issues remain relevant today, but they are no longer the biggest story. What has changed is the evidence. This investigation introduced an entirely new dimension through CryptoG's independent blockchain forensic analysis. Instead of relying solely on promotional videos, webinars, and marketing presentations, we were able to examine the smart contracts, trace the movement of funds, and compare the technical evidence with the claims being made to investors. The findings raised important questions. If AI trading is responsible for generating member returns, where is the independently verifiable evidence of that activity? If blockchain transparency is one of the platform's strengths, why does the publicly observable activity appear to tell a different story from the one presented in promotional material? These are not historical questions. They are questions that matter today for anyone considering joining AURUM Foundation or its successor branding, NEYRO. Since the publication of my original investigation, the project has continued to evolve. New branding has appeared, new promotional material has been released, and recruitment efforts have continued. At the same time, the regulatory concerns have not disappeared, and the technical questions raised by CryptoG's analysis remain unanswered. That is why this article should not be viewed as a replacement for my original investigation. It is the next chapter. The first investigation examined what the company said. This investigation examined what the blockchain appears to show. Together, they provide a far more complete picture than either could have achieved on its own.
Yeah, so there's people gaming the system. There's people who know better than they know better. There's people who know it's a Ponzi scheme and they're playing the market, and we can't compete with those type of people. And if you think you're smarter than us and you think you want to play with until you get your seed money out and take those gambles, well, you might as well go off to the casino and go gambling. At least that's legal. If you're promoting it, like that individual that we just got kicked out of his Zoom meeting, he's not even using his real name. They're just trying to get a commission. They don't care. They just think if they can get people on board, it's disgusting. So the investigation continues. This investigation does not end with this article either. If you have any information and you've invested or your money's been frozen, let us know, because when it all falls over and goes pear-shaped, we get inundated with people asking or telling us stuff, and then they say those famous words, do you think it's possible to get my money back? You can't eat your apple and your cake and have a two, you know the old saying? If anything, it marks the beginning of a much larger conversation. The question raised throughout this investigation deserves answers, not because I'm asking them, but because thousands of people around the world have been encouraged to place their trust in them and money into a platform built around extraordinary claims. And as I said at the start, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Oh, there we go. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. During the course of this investigation, I examined the company's public marketing, reviewed personal material, monitored webinars, documented regulatory warnings from multiple jurisdictions, and worked alongside Crypto G to better understand the blockchain evidence. Some questions were answered. Many were not. The blockchain analysis represents observations that appear difficult to reconcile with the repeated claims of AI-powered trading. Regulatory authorities in multiple countries have issued warnings about the projects. Public promoters are continued recruiting while those questions remain unresolved. Are you going to lose your money? Are you listening to these individuals? None of those facts in isolation tell the story. Together, however, they create a picture, the overall picture. We've been putting together a picture puzzle. Often we don't have the cover, but the overall picture is very clear. That prospective investors deserve to examine carefully before taking financial distinction. If AURUM Foundation, NEYRO, or anyone else associated to the project wishes to publicly address the specific issues raised in this investigation, I remain prepared to review and verify evidence with an open mind. That includes audited trading records, independent technical reports. An audit report would be fantastic, thanks very much, or any documentation capable of explaining the discrepancies identified throughout this investigation. Likewise, if former insiders, developers, promoters, or investigators have additional information they believe is relevant, my door remains open. Every investigation is built on evidence. As new evidence emerges, evidence evolve. The article is not intended to have this article is not intended to have the final word. It is intended to encourage critical thinking. Sick of you guys being at the bottom of the cliff, losing all your money. Let's be at the top of the cliff before you throw yourself financially into ruin. Let's get in the trenches with these people that are promoting it or creating these schemes and ask them the critical questions. It's called critical thinking. Don't listen to the gaslighters. Don't be pushed into people telling you what to do with your money. Fear of missing out techniques. The sell of financial freedom. Promote transparency and remind investors that trust should never be replaced. Remind investors that trust should never be replaced with due diligence. The blockchain records remain. The regulatory warnings will remain. The public statements will remain. Time will ultimately determine which claims withstands independent scrutiny. Until then, this investigation will continue. Now, sorry I was rushed in this one. We actually been doing this for 2 hours and 45 minutes, but this was the most amazing. This is where the Avengers are starting to shine. We are the Avenger Anti-Fraud Alliance. We have crypto geniuses like Crypto G who can break down the blockchain and look at the evidence. Today, I've shown you evidence on the blockchain that there is no trading happening with AURUM Foundation. we have also shown you that their smart contracts aren't doing what they claim. The biggest statement that I'm thinking about when I'm listening to this is extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Well, there is no extraordinary evidence here to prove that this is a real, genuine claim. Excellent. All right, guys, I love you all. I'm now going to go get ready and go off to the courtroom. Wish me luck today. I'm ready. I feel on fire. You are my family here today, guys. I'm going to do some magical, as I've just said to my other family members, that we are all fine-tuned instruments. We are an orchestra. The person that we're going up against is the bongo drum. And the judge is going to be the conductor. And hopefully my afternoon will be fun, and I'll tell you all about it, no doubt, when we get our thing. Got some family affairs going down at the moment. So, hey, I love you all, guys. You're absolutely fantastic. If you can support me, I think it's that way. No, it's that way. There's a link here that says support me on Ko-Fi/DeHeck. I'm trying to get to Orlando at the moment. I literally paid for my tickets yesterday, and I still am looking for accommodation and the like. And would you believe, Christopher Delgado's now not getting sentenced on the 8th of October. He is now getting sentenced on the 24th of October. That date may change as well. Ironically, I'm meant to be back in America first week in November. So I might need to move to America for a couple of 3 weeks. Who knows? But lots of things are happening in the scammer world. We are getting bigger. We're getting stronger. And I think our investigations are actually stepping up a notch every time you see one. Now, I just want to say a moment, thank you to Crypto G. We're always asking him to do us favors, but this time he knocked it out of the ballpark. And if you are invested in that company, hopefully we have saved you from financial ruin. Now, if you want to help us in other investigations, or you want us to do another investigation, go to DeHeck.com, DEHEK.com, reach out to us. And I've got an email of about 45 different emails there at the moment, which I've got to get back to people. But I'm getting people coming to us on a daily basis asking us whether this is a scam or not. So on the homepage of my website, which I will bring up, if you go to the homepage of DeHeck.com, you'll see that we have this question. Is this a scam? So are you currently investigating, or are you participating in something and you're not sure if it's a scam or not? Well, click on that link, and it will take you away to, is this a scam? And you can actually hire us or donate $150 or more, and we will investigate something and tell you whether something we believe is a scam or not. So that's what we're doing, and we appreciate it, and we'll see you at the top of the cliff before some scammer pushes you off. One of the Avengers would like to have a quiet word with you before you invest, if you wouldn't mind, officer. That sort of stuff. All right, guys. Love you, love you, love you. 21st of October. There you go. I better get my dates right again. 21st of October. Well, I'm going to have to move to America, won't I? I thought it was the 24th. Just why I didn't rebook my tickets yet. I've cancelled them and put them on hold, if you're wondering. All right. I now have this big credit with an airline. Great. All right. See you in the next video. I'm Danny DeHeck, and we are the Avengers. Thanks, guys.
Promised futures written in code, an AI engine on the blockchain road. Passive profits every single day, but the evidence kept slipping away. Webinars filled with polished dreams, luxury lifestyles, perfect streams. Trust the system, they would say, but the blockchain told another way. Every wallet leaves a trail, every transaction tells a tale. You can market hope, you can market hype, but you can't rewrite the blockchain's type. The AI trading bot that doesn't trade, a billion promises carefully made. Follow the money, follow the chain. Truth survives while the lies decay. The dashboard shines, the numbers glow, but where's the proof? We're meant to know when the marketing fades into the night. keeps the ledger right. Crypto G pulled back the veil, following every digital trail. Smart contracts open line by line, searching for the missing signs. Questions echoed far and wide. Could the evidence survive the ride? AI claims filled every screen, but reality wasn't what it seemed. Regulators raised alarms, still they sold financial charms. Different faces, different names, yet every pitch sounded the same. The AI trading bot that doesn't trade, a billion promises carefully made. Follow the money, follow the train. Truth survives while the lies decay. The dashboard shines, the numbers glow, but where's the proof we're meant to know? When the marketing fades into the night, the blockchain keeps the ledger right. This isn't anger, this isn't fear. It's evidence gathered year after year. No shortcuts, no hidden agenda, just facts that every investor deserves to remember. Because trust is earned, it isn't sold, and every block preserves the story told. The AI trading bot that doesn't trade, no matter how the story's framed. AURUM changed, then NEYRO came, but unanswered questions stayed the same. Read the code, don't chase the dream. Nothing's ever what it seems. When the lights go out and the hype is gone, the blockchain's truth keeps marching on. Investigate, analyze, expose, protect. Follow the blockchain, not the marketing.